Three, two, one, ghost. Hey, everybody. Welcome to 321 Ghost. I'm your host with the silent G, Kyle, and as always, joined by my pal Natalie. Hey, Natalie. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Y'all know a few weeks ago, for the 4th of July, we did I Know What You Did Last Summer. We just thought, one, it's our 50th episode, so let's do a super fun one. And two, lined up perfectly with the holiday. So it just seemed easy, right?
That was a month ago.
That was a month ago. So a few weeks is also a month. A few doesn't
I
always have
know
to be
it's
just
three to
three.
five. 3 to 5 is what a few is.
Ooh, five, you're qualifying for like a bunch. I don't know about that. I'd say three to
Mm,
four. Five's stretching it. But we, I just could not bring myself to wait an entire year for the next 4th of July to do the sequel. I still know what you did last summer. I thought about it. I was like, do I have that sort of patience? Do I have that sort of restraint? No, why would I? This is our podcast. We can do whatever we want. Hey, everybody, welcome to August. We're talking about the 1998 sequel, directed by Danny Cannon, written by Trey Calloway, starring, you got your returning survivors, Jennifer Love Hewitt playing Julie James, and Freddie Prinze Jr. playing Ray Bronson.
ugh,
Yeah, I know. Not the survivors we wanted, to be
mm-mm.
honest.
But they're the ones we got.
Man, could you just imagine just that machismo energy if you had both Barry and Tyrell in this movie? Oh my
Oh,
God.
ooh, a lot of masculinity, toxic masculinity.
That'd be its own storm in and of itself. Um, and you've got, I would say, a pretty, dare I say, stacked cast for this movie. There
It
are
is.
fucking just winners galore in this movie. Of course, you also have, well, I guess your third returning survivor, Muse Watson, playing Ben Willis, and
Yeah.
AKA the Fisherman. You also have Mekhi Phifer playing Tyrell. Um, Mekhi Phifer probably now more famous for being name checked in that 8 Mile song.
You think so?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, to be in an Eminem song when you're not being targeted and harassed,
That's true. They're
you know?
pals.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. Usually, like at that time, if you were Jesus, Britney Spears or Carson Daly or Fred Durst or who have you, do you think somebody listens to those early Eminem records and they're like, who the fuck is he talking about?
Absolutely, they do.
Oh my God. Do people know does Gen Z, are we even still in Gen Z? Do they know who Carson Daly is?
Yes, because he hosts, fuck, of course now I'm not going to remember. He hosts one of those talent competition, singing competition shows. So you have like
Mm,
the judges, but then there's always a host for some reason. And he did that for a while. So I feel like if he's not still doing it now, he's making money off that. People should recognize him.
yeah.
I mean, maybe
Um,
still not younger people. That I still feel like that's for older folks.
you reminded me before this episode started that that video, this isn't the first time I'm mentioning Brandy and Monica's The Boy Is Mine. I forget what episode, it was early on, but the boy was Mekhi Phifer. I haven't seen that video in forever. And I
Hmm.
wonder if Brandy was like, hey, I know a guy that we've already introduced to audiences I can realistically be attracted to, right? And they bring that chemistry over a little bit.
Their chemistry in that music video is way better than in this movie. So I just think that's really funny that they're capable of it, but just not here in my humble opinion.
I like to imagine that Mekhi Phifer's character in the video "The Boy Is Mine" is much like Ty, where like, and it's a good thing that he doesn't talk in that video because if he did, it would just be like nothing, just but like horn dog, like
Uh-huh.
I'm here to fuck because that is
Yeah.
literally his one
That's
mode the entire
that's all
movie.
he's got. All he's got. Yeah.
So, replacing Sarah Michelle Gellar as the best friend role, we've got Brandy Norwood as Carla
He's great.
Wilson. Oh, fucking Brandy is the absolute best. And again, I like Sarah, or sorry, I like Jennifer Love Hewitt, but man, just I want a movie with Brandy and Sarah Michelle Gellar. I'm just always going to be watching
Oh
this movie being
yeah.
like, ah, dang. it could have been really cool with Barry and Helen, or at least keeping Helen alive. No, I don't know. It'd have to be those two instead, because
Yeah, you got to
yeah,
swap them both out.
the best thing that this movie does is keeps Ray out of the action. Because fuck, no one cares.
We have a lot of I have a lot of thoughts about Ray again.
Oh my God. But again, like I said, a stacked cast. We also round out, we got Bill Cobbs as Estes. Bill Cobbs, the only other thing I remember off the top of my head that I saw him in was he's that jazz musician at the end of That Thing You Do. When's the last time you saw that movie?
Oh yeah, he is. And he's in A Night at the Museum as well, which I've seen a lot because of having a child.
I have not seen that.
That's all
Either of
right.
those movies. Obviously, you've got industry legend Jeffrey Combs just doing
Yeah. Oh, he's so good.
his smarmiest and slimiest. I love him.
Why did they
Um,
give him those teeth?
it was probably his idea. He probably just showed up with those teeth, and they were just like, go for it. It's like how probably I'm sure half the choices for the character he plays in The Frighteners, like I think he just brings that to it. He's just probably like, you know,
I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do.
and then it's your job, directors and editors, to figure out how to push this to greatness. I don't know. You also have Jennifer Esposito, who was all over TV and movies in the 90s and the
Mm,
2000s. She's awesome.
hmm
Um, John Hawkes, industry legend John Hawkes. We also
hmm
mentioned him from Dusk Till Dawn.
I love
Yeah,
him, but his character in this movie and the lines that he has, he can't even sell. Like if he can't sell those lines, like no one could.
what are you talking about? He's just being your best pal. You clearly don't.
I mean, obviously
Well,
I've never been a man in a male friendship, but that conversation does not feel like a real conversation to me.
that's absolutely how we talk.
No.
100%. Yeah,
Lies.
yeah. Man, you know how many times your husband and I, as teenagers and 20-year-olds, were yelling at each other to get the harmony right, singing along to songs in the car? Come
Okay,
on.
maybe that part. That part, but at the dock,
You also have Jack Black in this, who I guess I'm looking at the Wikipedia. I guess his name is Telesco. Playing
Titus.
Titus. Well,
Mhm.
yeah, but his last name is Telesco, but
Oh,
I don't
okay.
remember that ever being said.
I
This
don't
was
think that's ever said.
this was uncredited. I don't think this was his first movie. I think he was in stuff where he was credited before. He probably
Mm.
was just like, I need to. He probably just saw the writing on the wall, being like, I know years from now I'll need to separate myself from this, and let's just go ahead and just get that out of the way now. Probably at the time they were thinking like, man, that's a ballsy move for this young actor to say like, oh, I don't even want to be credited for this, or if it was his choice at all. But he was just like, look, I'm just future thinking here. So
I have a lot of thoughts about Titus, but I'll wait. I'll wait.
yeah.
I'll be patient.
Um, 1998. This, and I'm just gonna just kind of get ahead of this. Nostalgia is gonna play a lot into my
Hmm
views on this movie. And this movie in particular, I don't know why this one, compared to the others that are out in that time, this one just holds this special place in my heart. But gosh, going back, fuck, 1998, it's Jesus. Look, I'm just looking through the songs of 1998.
No, here we go.
Fucking, oh, Ghetto Superstar by Praz.
Mm.
Fucking The Boy Is Mine, like I mentioned. You Get What You Give by New Radicals. Closing Time, Semisonic.
Oh, that's
Believe by
fun.
Cher.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Intergalactic by Beastie Boys. Did I mention that already?
Mm-mm.
And that's just like, I'm not even going to read through all these, but and this soundtrack
Mm.
is terrible, but it's gold.
Can we talk about Jennifer Love Hewitt's single, How Do I Deal?
My best understanding is that so when you're getting Brandy to commit to your project, it must be separate fees for Brandy, the actress, and Brandy, the singer. They probably could only afford the former because why is Brandy in this movie and somebody else is singing a song for it? Uh,
Mm.
and that song, it's
It's oh, it's
it's
rough.
it hurts. Like it just hurt musically, just hurts my ears. And I like really shitty pop music, like cookie
Yes,
cutter
he
pop
does.
music. He does a lot. And oh yeah, oh this song's rough. But as terrible as the song is, oh that orgy cover of Blue Monday, shit fucking rocks.
I like that song.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of you for waiting almost a whole year of doing this podcast to talk about this movie. I feel like you've really been holding it in. You've been talking about it the whole time anyway.
It just come it just comes up. I don't know. Like it's not my
It
fault that
does
this
it
movie
does not.
is connected to literally every aspect of my life. What? Um, on that note, can you share the first time you watched this movie?
Yeah. This movie, I want to say I saw this in the theater. Cousin Vinny might need to correct me, but I feel like I saw this with Cousin Vinny and maybe my mom. If not, she took us to the theater and just bought us tickets and just let two 11-year-olds just go hang out watching this movie, which feels right. But I did see it in the theater because I did love the first one. And I remember really loving it like right off the bat. And I don't think I ever stopped loving it. And then I realized somewhere along the line that this was not a well received movie compared to the first one.
Put whatever stock you want, or put whatever stock you want into Rotten Tomatoes. This is rocking a 7%. This has got to
What?
be our lowest, I think.
Fucking Malignant had what, 77%? This is a better movie than Malignant. Rotten Tomatoes needs to fuck right off. I'm going to write them a strongly worded letter.
Again, that's not how Rotten Tomatoes works. They just aggregate what
I
everybody.
know, I know. But they're publishing this shit on the internet and it's forming opinions. So we're gonna correct that tonight.
No, I'm gonna give it at least double.
Yeah. I love this movie.
I love it too. Like I said, I was really excited about because I was definitely in full swing of my slasher interests as like a 10, 11-year-old.
Mhm. By the way, I'm only giving you 30 minutes to talk about how much you love this movie and your history with it. So it starts now. Go.
Okay. I don't remember if it was the first time I watched this movie, but I have a core memory with this one that I probably shared in some capacity before in some random episode where I grew up in military housing, and on the base there was a single screen movie theater. It was really weird because at the beginning of each movie you had to like stand for the national anthem, so it was very weird to
Oh,
do that in a
that
dark
is strange.
theater in front of in front of I still know what you did last summer. You know what I mean? It was very strange to me, but whatever. It's military life is very strange.
Yeah.
But there was a double feature that I went to with a group of friends, and we were all probably in that same like 11 to 12-year-old range, where we saw a double feature of this movie and that Gus Van Sant remake of Psycho. So this must have been December of 1998 because that's when that movie came out.
Wow.
So I remember watching that. Y'all, I'm like really the biggest nerd on the planet. I had not the novelization of this movie, but I had like the script of the movie in like book form that I bought somewhere. Hey,
Someone
they knew
made it.
because they knew I'd buy it.
Yeah. They sure did publish that.
Yeah, they did. And I remember taking that also to a spring or summer camp like through my middle school, and I read that shit front to back like probably like 3 times 4 times over. It's you just imagine just little chubby old Kyle just walking through reading my I still know what you did last summer book, being like I don't want to hike. It was
For all the
it was
other, like, I'm assuming there were camp counselors. Like, were they not concerned that you were just like reading this book about a horror movie that is like not appropriate for your age? They were just like, it's cool.
I mean, they're camp counselors. Like, fuck, we
They
seen
don't give a
Friday the
shit.
13th. They should be worried about all the other things associated with being a camp counselor.
They were off fucking in the cabin. They didn't care what you were reading.
Oh yeah, right. They'd let me go fucking drown in a lake. They don't give a fuck, right? Um, but yeah, I just remember eating hot dogs a lot, and I remember a talent show at the end. Well, I don't remember the talent show, but I remember sitting at a table and listening to someone talk about the talent show. And that was it. Pretty exciting stuff. Um, again, this movie I've seen a million times. Uh, I would also me and these group of friends, we would also play I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And it was like basically a game of tag where we had luckily one of our friends like had like a big old dark trench coat, and would wear that and then ride on his bike and chase after the rest of us as the fisherman, as you will. Um, yeah, a lot of formative, weird events around this movie in particular for me at a very weird formative time.
I love all of that. And I mean, I'll admit, like, I definitely played out like slashers and things when I was a kid. Another thing that cousin Vinny and I would do,
Mm-hmm.
but not like a specific movie. So, and the fact that you found like friends that like also shared the same interest is that's a rare find. I'm impressed.
And the thing too is these friends, I don't, really, yeah, shout out to them. I don't think they shared the interest really. I think it was they were just supportive of me in this interest,
Aw,
Like
that's
I
so
remember
sweet.
I would write my own slasher stories, right? As my mom loved this. She was like, this is strange.
It's
um,
a totally healthy habit,
this 10-year
hobby.
old. Yeah. And I remember writing one, and then one of my friends at the time, I must have written it longhand or something or whatever. God, I wish I had this so I could just read like just the
Oh,
insane nonsense.
could do a
But
whole episode on that.
she like typed it all out and like drew like a cover with like art on it, and like
Oh,
gave it to me. And it was like the sweetest thing ever. And, but yeah, I would also, with like toys, like act out like essentially like murder mysteries,
yeah,
where like,
for sure.
there'd be someone in the group is a killer and people die one by one until there's a couple left and then whatever. Like, and I would do this with like, you know, usually probably I don't know, GI Joes or something, or Power Rangers toys or something. Ooh, I did have like this weird Power Rangers but like also in a slasher situation thing that I would do. I was a weird kid and it went all places. And I one of my first CDs I ever bought was Will Smith's Big Willie Style. So just
Of course.
snapshot to
Classic.
1988, me like using my Power Rangers and GI Joes to act out slashers with Big Willie Style playing, with Getting Jiggy with It playing in the background. And that is like a snapshot. It's such a weird, specific snapshot into my childhood that is so strange and so weird that I just now feel for some reason comfortable sharing out loud. So
I'm so glad that you shared all of that, and I hope you don't edit any of it out because I feel like the people need to know what a little weirdo you were. But I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of horror-loving children out there that did similar things because I did the same things with my Barbies. They were definitely having murder mystery, like scream style situations going on. And I didn't even know who the killer was to the end. I was just making it up as I went along.
me
So
too.
it
Love that.
yeah, it was always a mystery. I was like, oh my God, it was Sharon this whole time.
Classic Sharon.
So yeah, I mean you weren't alone. But that's a lot to unpack.
That being said, this movie is bonkers. This
Mhm.
movie is on the intellectual level where really only 10-year-olds would appreciate this. But again, ooh, you just dig your teeth right into that nostalgia tangerine, so to speak. I don't know.
Everyone knows the nostalgia tangerine.
Yeah.
But this movie is fun. It's fun, even though it's bonkers. Like I don't think I Know What You Did Last Summer is a fun movie, and I think this is fun.
Yeah, the first one is just drab.
Somber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Like probably teenagers getting murdered probably should be more drab and somber, but
Well,
who needs that? Let's get them in the
that's a
Bahamas.
hell yeah.
Yeah. So let's hop into this movie.
Let's do it.
Okay. So, an interesting way to catch everybody up. You go right to the title card. I still know what you did last summer, and you just hear like sound bites from the last movie. And like, yes, it's helpful for me because I've seen the movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, yep, they get the biggest beats. I like that they kept the "What are you waiting for?" clip. They're just like, let's throw that in there. We know the kids like that one.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if you have not seen the first one, relying on that alone to get you caught up, you'd be like, what on earth is going on?
That's not going to help you at all. And
Yeah.
I didn't even know what was being said, and I have seen the movie multiple times until I put on my subtitles the second time I watched it. And I was like, "Oh wow, there's a lot from the first movie in here."
Hmm. This movie does a lot of dumb dream sequences. We
Mhm.
had the shower one in the end of the first movie, and then opening with this one here at this church. Um, I think I remember a lot of this from the trailer, I think, had the scene in it. Um, so she's by herself at this church, we don't know where. She's looking much healthier than we've seen her
Oh yeah,
before.
the haircut is on and popping. Like this is like peak Jennifer Love Hewitt. She looks so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I just love everything about her in this movie. It made me want straight hair back then, for sure.
And like Dave Grohl, she's got a confession to make.
Oh God.
So she's sitting here talking to who we find out in this dream is Ben Willis, sitting on the other end. She still says that she killed somebody. And no, she didn't. Like twice. No, she didn't.
Yeah.
You need to stop saying that because no, you didn't.
Well, there's a couple things. One, she didn't.
Uh-huh.
Two, if you like, I obviously I've never been to confession. I was baptized Catholic, but I am not a Catholic. So if you just go to the confession booth and you admit to killing someone, like, is the priest not obligated to like report you? Or is it like it's in God's hands now? Like the
Yeah.
law has nothing to do with this.
I don't think you are a mandated reporter. Like you say, like
Yeah.
if you're a therapist and someone
Mhm.
discloses that stuff to you, um, though maybe I don't know if you can, or at least I think the priest would be like, you should really tell
The authorities.
the authorities on this one, you know, and not like God's authority. Like you should tell like a detective or police or something.
Yeah.
Um, but then even then, I'm like, Julie, even if you did kill him that second time, he
Mhm.
tried to kill you first after you
Yeah.
didn't kill him. Like, yes, he hit him with a
Yeah.
car. Yes, he left him for dead. Sure, but he was already killing somebody. I'd be like,
Yeah.
if I were Julie, I'd be like, get the fuck, dude. I know what you did last summer, asshole. Twice over. Get the fuck. Don't even fucking come for me. If anything, let's just call it even because now I know what you did. And let's not even pretend like you're fucking Jason or you're Freddy or you're fucking Ghostface where you're a different person every single time. I can Google you, asshole. I know your fucking name. Your name is Ben Willis. You live in Southport. You have like you're in the news and shit. Like we can find you. You have a social security number. Like what is this fear about? Right?
Yeah, he also could have gone to the authorities, I suppose.
Yeah. Why didn't he just do that the first? Like, I mean, unless again, the same thing where he's probably thinking, I can't go to the authorities and say that I got hit by a car by four people that I know their names, right? Because I'm
Hmm.
stalking them a year later.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't go because they'll be like, what were you doing out there anyway? And he'd be like, oh, well, actually, I was dumping the ex-fiance of my dead daughter. And and that's why I think he would stop there and be like, you know what? I'm a little in over my head already with this murder situation. I couldn't even kill the first person without getting hit by a car. So why don't we just like call things even and just like let shit rest? I don't know. As much as I love the fisherman aesthetic of the whole thing, I'm like, why is Ben Willis the killer in this movie? It would make way more sense if it was just Will, you know?
I agree as well because we didn't need him to come back, but I think we learn more about Ben Willis in this movie that makes it sound like he just loves revenge and murder. So it works out.
Especially murder for things that like they didn't actually do anything technically wrong, you know? Like basically the whole backstory is like, oh yeah, he also worked at the Bahamas on this island for a
Oh
little
my
bit.
gosh, we'll get
And
there.
yeah, we'll get
We'll
there.
get there.
So you have this fake out where the priest is like, I know. And she's like, how could you possibly know? And it's Ben Willis, sticks the hook out. Look at me, I've got my hook. At least it's now attached to his hand or
Oh
wrist,
yeah, I love that.
Candyman style, even though again,
Mhm.
Candyman's still just scarier.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
and
This was a fun way for them to excuse the ending of the last movie because, that obviously was a dream as well.
yeah,
So I like that they found like a fun, creative way to fit in her never-ending nightmares here, which apparently they're going to have to do again because we're going to get a sequel,
allegedly, yes.
allegedly.
So I get why she would still have some nightmares and she'd be a little more on edge. I get why she'd be more on edge in this movie than maybe the last one because she knows that they never found the body of Ben
Hmm.
Willis from summer of fucking whatever. Now, the year before that, at least when they thought it was David Egan that they killed, they were like, oh yeah, they found the body. So at least I just thought I killed
It
somebody,
was just guilt.
Yeah, just go for that. No big deal, no
Yeah,
big deal.
it's fine.
Whereas like this one's like, ooh, there is a guy that really wanted to kill me that we don't know if he's dispatched yet. So he could be anywhere.
Hmm.
So she screams, wakes up.
Such a good scream. We have to give Jennifer Love Hewitt a shout out for how good she is at screaming because it's top tier.
Oh, 100%. And they really milk that on that episode of Boy Meets World. Remember
Yeah.
that one?
Yes.
Yeah. Which like again, oh, this weird time vault or into that year because there was also a lot of like South Park references, I think, too, in that episode. And I'm like, what is going
Probably.
on?
Yeah.
Um, I think like half of that cast from Boy Meets World has a podcast, and I don't care to listen to any of it, but maybe if they do that episode, I might want to check in and listen to them talk
Hmm.
about that one.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It's like how Freddie Prinze Jr. has a podcast that I have no interest in, but I did listen to the episodes where he talks about these two movies as well as Scream, which he was really close to getting the Billy Loomis role. Imagine how terrible that would be.
Oh, God. Absolutely not. Mm-mm. We already had to deal with him as Ray. I don't want any more.
Sydney, how about PG-13? And you're just like, Jesus, dude. No one wants you, Ray. No one wants you. So, but also no one wants Will because gosh. So Will is in this class.
Ugh.
The teacher, of course, being, as sensitive as ever, Julie, you didn't know you found political science so interesting. And I'm like, dude, she's screaming in terror. Like,
Obviously, something traumatic happened to her.
yeah. So that sounds like a pretty checked out college professor, though.
Mhm.
So she's back in college. She screams. She gets up out of that class. Will Benson, get it? Benson. Okay, that's gonna come up later. He follows. He's just macking on her the entire time, and
Hard.
I'm not never entirely clear what she has shared with him or what she has shared with Carla. And I don't think she shared anything with Tyrell about what had happened.
I can answer this question.
Thank you.
Okay. So I had to rewatch a couple of scenes a couple times to come to this conclusion. But what I believe she's told them is that she was attacked by Ben Willis and he killed her friends, attacked her and Ray. But I think she gave them the same narrative she gave the police. Like, I don't know why this guy was coming after us.
Yeah.
Because when they're on the dock later in the movie, she reveals that they had hit him with a car. They thought they murdered him, et cetera, et cetera. So she gives like the darker version of the story because she didn't let them in on the whole thing. So she's able to talk because she was like, how else am I going to get around the fact that I'm fucking screaming in class? Like, she's got to give them something. So that's what I got from these last couple watches.
I guess I don't understand why she would keep that part out. I mean, I do to an extent, but I'm also
Well, she
like,
didn't tell that to the police. She can't be just going around telling people.
I mean, but she didn't kill him the first time. So, I mean, at least there's that. It's like, hey, we thought we killed him and then he came to kill us later. I feel like you can still bring that to the police. It's not like Ben Willis is.
Okay, first of all, Barry said to the grave, and he honored that. So she's gonna
Uh,
have to take that shit to her grave too.
do you think she gives a fuck what Barry says, especially after he's dead, right?
No, but okay, snitches get stitches. Like, I'm not about to roll up to the police and be like, you know what? Actually, we did hit this guy with our car and we thought he was dead. So we tried to dump the body. Like, absolutely not. I'm not sharing that with the police. Fuck
No,
no.
you tell the police we were in the car. Barry was drunk. He was driving. He hit him. You just
No.
throw it all on Barry. Barry's
Mm-mm.
dead. It's a
No.
victim. It's a victimless crime.
You're an accomplice.
I mean, outside of Barry being murdered, right? But beside that part.
And Helen, RIP.
Oh well, okay, okay. So maybe a few victims and Elsa.
And shitty, fuck Elsa.
Yeah. um, this I don't remember if this was in the first movie, but this like bad like knockoff like Exorcist music that comes off every now and then. I think it's Julie's main theme, but
I think it's
she's
just specific to this one.
yeah. So Will is trying to mac on her and also try to comfort her, and she's just like, nah, fuck this, I'm just gonna get out of here. See you later, Will. Get the fuck out of here.
This is the only time though that I feel like she's like more kind and a little bit flirty to him. It's the only time in the movie I feel like they have like a tad bit of chemistry. She like kind of touches his face and that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's not there.
I mean, I will say they probably still have more chemistry than her and Ray because
Ooh, this next conversation. Whew, this is about to get me
oh,
heated.
Ray, my
Ray.
guy, Ray, what the fuck, dude? Like he
Ugh,
makes no sense. And I guess this is how he's dealing with this trauma is he is like he's turned into like Barry in a way where he just flips on and off, back and forth. It's either he's like, I love you, Julie, I have a wedding ring for you. I drove up, how and remember, how many hours is that drive back and forth from Boston to Southport? He just drove all the way up there just to turn all the way back. And he was just going to come
yeah.
all the way back up the next day. That's like 30, 40 hours worth of driving, dude. Jesus Christ. And his whole thing where he's like, well, come back to Croker Town and this, just acting like nothing happened. And
Yeah.
she's reiterating over and over and over, like, it's not you. It's gonna be you if you don't fucking stop. But look, I'm sorry, I don't want to go back again on the anniversary because again, we're only like 1 year removed from this. We don't know what happens on anniversaries yet. We need, I need to get one chill Fourth of July under my belt, at least
Yeah.
two or three, before
Yeah.
I be comfortable and thinking that we're in the clear. So I don't know about going all the way back, but Ray's like, oh,
And
you need space from me then, blah blah blah, and he gets all fucking pissy and shit about it.
the way that he presents it as well, we
Yeah,
know it's 4th of July weekend, so already trauma in the
yeah,
location of her terrible trauma.
yeah.
But then also, he has the fucking audacity to bring up the Croaker Queen pageant.
I know.
No one's attending that, right? Are you fucking nuts? Her best friend that just got murdered last year was the Croaker Queen. We're not watching that pageant. It wasn't even entertaining when there was no trauma attached to it. So he just needs to chill, honestly.
Helen technically was no longer the Croaker Queen when she got murdered. I just want to
Okay,
submit that for the record.
fair enough. Fair enough. But also, to top that off, he needs to work while she's there too. So they're going to spend the weekend there, celebrate all the things that the trauma is attached to, and then he's like, "Oh, but I still got to work." So
You do you.
yeah, like drove all the way here for you. Yeah, Ray, he is the worst. Like Freddie Prinze Jr. was cute in 1998, but he's not that fucking cute. Like, go back to your boat.
Especially because he's just like back and forth between like, oh, come back to Southport with me. Oh, then fuck you. I guess we're breaking up too. Oh, I've got a wedding ring for you. To, oh, also, I'm not going to the Bahamas. I'm lying about how busy I am at work.
Okay,
And
but
then
how old do we think they are here? Because okay, if they just graduated high school in the first one, it's a year later, they'd be 19. So they couldn't be older than like 20.
I think they're still underage because at the bar scene later
Hmm.
with Nancy. Um,
So it really that feels fitting for a couple of 20-year-olds.
it does. And as much as I get frustrated with Ray, I think I'm just more angry with myself because of how much I relate to Ray unwillingly. I was in a long-term relationship with someone that went to college many hours away, and I was like a jealous, dumb little shit a lot of the time. So I get all that dumb shit and just picking fights over like fucking nothing, like
Mm-hmm,
so I'm just
mm-hmm.
like watching this and just Jesus, did I learn this? Is this learned behavior?
Is it because
Thinking
of Ray that you
it,
did that?
oh my God, this just unlocked for me right now. It might be. I need to go tell my therapist that Freddie Prinze Jr. from I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is the reason for.
Shaped my adolescent relationships.
Oh my God. Here we are, everybody. Oh no. So he's like, all right, fine, wah wah, pout pout, fuck me. I'm just gonna go drive off. And Ray's like, how do I deal? Right? That's what the song's about, even though I don't think it comes until later. But she goes to her beautiful apartment.
Oh, wow. It looks
Um,
like a house.
does Carla live there with her? Or is this just her place? It was so hard to tell.
It feels very unclear because she asks Carla, "What are you doing here?" as if she doesn't live there, but maybe
Right.
she was implying that she was supposed to be at work.
Right. Because the only other times Carla's in that apartment, like she's just already let herself in. It's either like the morning with the radio
Mhm.
call or during this.
Yeah, so
But
I think they live together. I think they're roommates.
yeah, that'd be my best guess. So Julie's taking a nap. This is a different Julie. This is Julie that keeps a knife by her bed. Also by her bed, a picture of a promotional still from the movie.
Yes.
I know what she did last summer. That picture of Sarah Michelle Gellar on the Queen
Hmm.
pageant. Um, again, no fucks given for Barry. No pictures of Barry.
No. I
No.
I bet she was like, "You know what? You win some, you lose some."
She goes and takes a nap. I can totally relate with that, 100%. I'm all about taking a nap until it gets dark, waking up, doing a circle, and just being like, fuck, I'm going back to bed. I could sleep forever if I could. So she wakes up, she hears noises in the house. Like I said, we find out that it's Brandy, or Carla, played by Brandy.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, like I said, I think she's just super fun in this movie. I mean, she's just breezy and she just has a lot of, you can tell she's got a lot of just charisma and energy and like really
Hmm.
tries to liven up what again could have been a very drab performance by, the people around her.
Hmm.
Her and Mekhi Phifer do a lot of the heavy lifting
Oh,
in
for
keeping this
sure.
movie light and breezy.
I think Carla and Julie seem like two people that actually would be friends because they balance each other out. Like Carla's very extroverted. She wants to have a
Hmm.
good time all the time. And Julie's turned into this kind of like introverted grump. And so I believe that they would be friends because they complement each other. But I do think it's really funny that, I mean, I'm assuming that something like this must have happened before because Carla is not reacting the way a normal person would if someone had pulled a knife on them for being in their closet. But I really, really love Julie when she says, she's like, "We're going out, like, no question, like, don't fight it. This is what we're doing." And Julie says, "I just tried to stab you with a knife. I hardly feel like dancing." I'm sorry. Are you upset that you just almost stabbed Carla with a knife? You're lucky Carla still wants to be friends with you. Like, what the fuck? Julie's so self-centered. She's the
Yeah.
worst.
So she ends up going to the club.
Mhm.
And again, the late 90s with all of these dance clubs that just let children in.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. It's a place for
That
adults and children, and she's serving alcohol, it looks like too, which
right.
I don't think you can do that, right? if you're
Brady.
underage.
Here's where we're introduced to Tyrell, played by Mekhi Phifer. He starts off strong. He's like, "Hey, I'm here to fuck. This is my one note. This is all I'm going to be for
And
the
he
rest of
will
this
be here to
movie."
fuck the whole movie and does not fuck.
And to the point where it's like almost kind of comical, where like you could just tell the whole time he's just so frustrated in the background of every scene because he's like, "Why have I not gotten laid yet? What is going
He
on?
he is
This is."
more frustrated that he hasn't gotten laid than the fact that people are just getting murdered on this island.
I think he would have gotten over the murders if he was able to at least have sex with Brandy once. I think he'd be like,
Absolutely.
and he ultimately gets penetrated himself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
So, sorry, pal. We'll get there though. Carla, not big on Ray, which
No.
why would she be? We're
Yeah.
agreeing with her at this point. I think you're still like
I'd
supposed to
be
think that
anti-Ray.
100% anti-Ray. And now I'm not, that doesn't make me pro Will, but
No, no.
she's friends with Will and is like, "Hey, let's keep this matchmaking thing." I don't know if I'm comfortable with her just like encouraging her friend to cheat on her boyfriend so much. Be like, "Come on, here's Will. Your boyfriend sucks." Which I'm like, I mean, yes, it's true. But,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, so Will, just this bumbling dumb asshole, fucking shows up and they talk for maybe 2 seconds until we get our first fisherman scene. But again, this is a vision, or is the fisherman really there?
That's so
I don't think so because he's like standing there and like there's other people like dancing and shit, unless
there's
they're just cool with it.
there's a couple things going on here.
Mhm.
It's very possible that that actually is the fisherman because Carla clearly states that she told Will the time frame that Julie would be at this club. So it could be Ben Willis. And in a club setting like that, why would anyone notice him or care?
So is he
Right?
like in line like to pay the cover at the door, like in his
He snuck in.
slicker
He
and his
murdered someone at the back door and got his ass in there. And then on top of that, I mean, you know what? No. You know what? He did wait in line and he was wearing that fucking slicker. Because if they let Will in wearing that dorky ass polo, then they definitely would let a guy in a black fucking raincoat. And the audacity, that's my word for this whole movie, of Carla saying, "Look at Will Benson looking fine." No, 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 no. That stupid shirt in that club. Absolutely not.
I think she's just, she's already in too deep in this matchmaking thing where she's probably internally being like, "Oh my God, you fucking idiot. God damn it. I'm trying to make this work, dude. Why do you have to show up acting like you're looking like the biggest asshole?" And so she's like, "All right, nope, nope. I got to be consistent. Damn, Will, you looking fine tonight." You
Yeah,
know?
she's really really trying to sell it. So I think the fisherman was actually there.
Yeah,
Do you think she was hallucinating?
if he was there, there's clearly no dress code for this club. And I like the idea of him standing at the line and like getting up to like the bouncer and being like, "Oh my God, $20." And just
I
complaining.
love that. Yeah, let's go
Yeah.
with that.
So, she's like, I'm good. I want no part in this. I'm gonna leave." Will's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, wait, don't," but she's like, I want nothing to do with this. I'm gonna go.
Hmm.
And then we cut to the next morning. Again, Carla must live there because she's already
Yeah,
in there
in her
answering phone calls and
PJs.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is when we get our radio call.
Hmm.
When you watched this movie, did you know what the capital of Brazil was?
I want to start by saying I was 11,
Yeah.
but I think the most annoying thing about that is that I guarantee cousin Vinny did know the capital of Brazil because he knew the capital of fucking everything. So if we did see this together and he didn't speak up, that's pretty fucked up, Vinny. But I did not know. I did not know the capital. And honestly, if you would have asked me a week ago before we watched this movie, I still would be like, "Do I know the capital of Brazil?" As soon as he said the topic was geography, I would have been like, "Oh, you need to call somebody else."
I only know what the capital of Brazil is. And if anybody asks me, I will answer in that same. Brasilia. Kind of way the Estes does it. Because that's the only reason I know. I'm going to
Yeah.
admit that I am not
Yeah.
a geography is not my strong suit. But I guess why the vacation is not in Brazil, right?
Yeah, that's very, very interesting.
Why would they ask them a question that, like, ask them a question that you just know for certain they're going to get right? Because now you have this twist later on that
Mm-hmm.
Brasilia, not Rio de Janeiro, is the capital of Brazil. And they're like, oh my God, how do you know? And then, of course, anybody watching this that did know that would be like, oh, this is a trap. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm like, just ask something easier because,
That way they get it right.
of course, they don't find out until the very, when they're at the hotel, what the
Mm-hmm.
capital is. But like, I don't know. You don't think like Brandy would be like, I don't know what her relationship is with her other friends and her parents or whatever to be like, oh yeah, I'm not coming home for the summer. We're going to Tower
Yeah.
Bay. Guess what? I won this contest. It's Rio de Janeiro. And nobody else would be like, oh, honey, oh no,
I
that's
mean,
not.
okay. I do wonder how many people would know the capital of Brazil. They didn't have easy access to the internet like we do today, where you could just fucking Google shit. But I will say this, I was watching this the other day, and of course, my husband happened to walk in right as this scene was happening. And they ask what the capital of Brazil is, and she says Rio de Janeiro. And he's like waiting for the DJ to tell them that they're wrong. And he's like, the capital of Brazil is Brasilia. He's like, that's not correct. And I was like, that's the whole point. And he's like, I
No
don't
point.
care. And just left.
Oh my God.
So
So also, when Julie wakes up, she hears Carla's shoes in the dryer. Of course, they're gonna have that call back later on.
for
But
sure.
I love just the look on Julie's face because definitely what's going through her head is like, there's gonna be a head in there, at least a foot.
Yeah. She's like, there's body parts in that dryer for sure.
So that's a tough life to live when you're just constantly thinking anything making noise is gonna be just body parts flailing around.
Oh, how sad.
Yeah, I'm like, just ask them an easier question. Just like, hey, what's I don't know, blah 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 blah. Just close that loophole. But again, a lot of the planning between Will and Ben here is
Yeah, there's a lot.
there's a lot there. So she calls Ray and it's like, hey, Ray, let's go to the Bahamas. Let's do this. Come on. I am going to have so much sex with you.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, what are we doing? And then Ray's just like, oh, we've been really busy lately, which is a lie. Why would he lie about that other than just
He
to be a dickhead?
this motherfucker also
Yeah.
says, oh, so you can go on a trip with your college friends, but you can't come visit me. Did we not discuss that my friends, our friends, were murdered where you want me to go? We were chased.
Ray's like, they were not my friends. I'm not friends with either Barry or Helen.
That's
Remember,
true. He
no,
didn't even talk to Helen.
remember, no one likes me.
I can't believe that he would say no to that situation. But see, this is where in my early 20s, I would relate to Julie because her stupid, desperate actions of like leaving him for voicemails and waiting at the step for him, like hoping that he might come. That is totally, totally some dumb shit that 20 to 23-year-old Natalie would have done for a man. Absolutely. Now it would have been like, I'm sorry, you said you don't want to come to Brazil and fuck me all weekend? You're insane. Peace out.
Yeah, this is 1998. This is pre 9/11. Your plane ticket can just go to anybody. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter. We're
Absolutely.
going. Hey, and then of course Brandy, like literally when they're talking about like, oh, maybe Ray's still coming. Like she's like, oh, I called Will
Mm-mm.
hours ago.
Yeah. I bet before she even made that phone call to Ray, she already offered that ticket to Will. So
Yeah.
we're good.
So Will's coming. The four of them are taking off. Meanwhile, Ray is with his buddy, played by John Hawkes. I forget his name again. Let me
Yeah,
look
me
this up.
too.
Dave. Dave is his name.
Dave.
Thank
Mm.
you. Um, And Dave's like, bro, like, don't be a fucking idiot. Like, let's
Yeah.
fucking go. And then bring me, because I'm your pal. I got some friends I can go fuck around with in
Yeah,
Cambridge.
I was wondering about that. I was like, so is Dave just buying his own ticket to the Bahamas? Or is he gonna drive Ray's truck back?
No, I think he's just gonna wait and party in Cambridge for the weekend while Ray goes on his trip and then comes back and then they drive back up
Mm.
together. Keep in mind, again, this is a 14-hour drive between Boston and Southport. So
Okay, you looked it up.
Ray has been driving like 28 hours the last day and then is driving an additional, that's like 40 something hours. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, all that wear and tear on your truck. Ray's also like, hey, granted, I just blew her off again, but I'll tell you what I'm thinking. And he has a wedding ring. I'm like, dude, you were just extremes. You only know how to
So
be,
extreme. Yeah.
but that sounds like a 20-year-old though. So
Mhm.
it makes sense. It tracks. So they're like, hey, Ray's like, I'll call her back. And then Dave's like, no, surprise her. Which I'm like,
Ugh. The worst advice. Why are we surprising her? If he showed up last minute, I'd be like, fuck you. You're not coming on this trip. You said no on the phone. How dare you make this 14-hour drive?
yeah, why would you put me through all of that, just being upset for like that, just to be an
Hours.
asshole?
14 hours is how long she'd
Because
be upset.
And Carla's right when she tells Jula, like, he is breaking your heart because he can. And that's why I'm like, Ray, sorry. It's just
Mhm.
toxic. I don't like this couple together.
Yeah.
Um, so we have the scene with Dave and Ray driving up,
Mhm.
and this is our first major kill scene. We see what we think is a body in the middle of the road. Ray's like, this looks a little too familiar. I do not like
I
this.
I love too the attention to detail that Ben Willis chose a BMW.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
It's very, very cute. So, leaving that trap for Ray is pretty good. And I agree with Ben Willis. It's like, let's just dispatch Ray as soon as we can.
Yeah,
But then again, I'm like, is Ben Willis also driving back and forth from Southport to Boston and back?
probably. Yeah,
Meets Ray somewhere on the road. Um,
probably. He's making flights to islands and everything too. And I feel really bad for Dave in this scene, not because he gets murdered,
mhm.
but because if Ray would have listened to him, he wouldn't have gotten murdered because he was like, hey, let's drive somewhere. We'll call and report it. Let's just keep going. And Ray, of course, with his dumbass, says no.
Yeah,
And that's the end of Dave.
yeah, because he comes up to this body, Ray does, turns it over. Do you think that after it must have been after Ben Willis kills Helen?
I knew.
Do you think he goes back to that shop and was like, you know, I could use one of these mannequins for later. I'm going to take one
They
of these.
have they
This
have
shop,
so many. They won't even notice that one is missing.
yeah, this shop has so many mannequins. I am just going to take one to myself, and you never know. Just one that looks like me so I can use it just in the future. That's my hope. So turns out it's just a mannequin dressed like a fisherman, turns around. Yeah, just right through the mouth. Where's the hooks through the mouth? That's tough.
Yeah.
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 So gets pulled out of the car. Fisherman gets in the fucking truck, drives after Ray, drives him off the road, and Ray is just bloodied and unconscious down the end of this hill.
Mm.
Now this is our travel scene where everyone's, taking I think first it's like taking the plane, and then Will is
Hmm.
like really not Will. That's like me being on a plane, by the way. That snapshot of Will just being like shit drops out of the sky any fucking all the
Yeah.
time, Julie. And planes get fucking struck by lightning. Like
I
this
know.
shit happens.
Do you think that was an act or he's actually afraid of flying?
I don't know. Maybe it could be both. I don't know. I don't know where fake Will starts and real Will ends because maybe the whole thing was fake Will
True.
the whole time. We don't even know. But maybe he's like, I'm going to interject a little bit of myself into here. And maybe he's like,
It'd
look,
be easier that way, at least, you
yeah,
know. So, okay, here's my question.
yeah,
This plan of his is really reliant on Carla inviting him and Ray saying no to this trip. So if Ray would have said yes, do we think that Will would have just been like creeping on the island, like spying and just murdering alongside his dad?
I think either way, the fisherman was going to wait there to intercept Ray. But maybe at the time, like when Ray was like, "Oh, I'm not going to go," maybe Ben and Will were like, "Oh, dang, that's even easier. Okay, cool. He's going to be a little bitch and not go.
Yeah, they're like,
Oh,
now I can go
now
and
I
be
can
your
go."
eyes and ears. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, they probably made a whole plan that had nothing to do with Will being on the trip. And Ray was probably supposed to be there. And then he was like, oh, actually, this works out perfectly. That thought had never occurred to me until this last watch that like how it would have went down had he not been part of the trip.
Well, no, I think even if he did call Julie and say, "Oh, yeah, no, I am going to come," the fisherman would still be there and Ray still wouldn't have shown up the next morning. And then maybe it
Mm.
would be like, "Oh, see, Ray, you can't be fucking trusted for shit, blah, blah, blah." So here's Will, though.
Oh,
I
that's
think
true. Yeah. Okay.
maybe, but again, it's entirely up to Carla still. So I just
Mm-hmm.
don't, I don't know. So we have this scene where they're on the plane. And then just, Ty just being like an asshole, being like, I'm gonna fucking hit you if you go quit your bitching kind of situation. And then we go to the boat, and then of course Tyrell's throwing up over the side of the boat. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
some people just can't sail.
Another thing that's interesting about the airplane ride that I think is true is
Mhm.
that Will says when Julie says, think about something happy from your childhood. And he says, what if there was nothing happy from my childhood? I was like, damn,
Mm,
that's probably real. That's the real Will.
yeah. So, see, like I said, he injects probably a little bit of his real
Mm-hmm.
self into the character, or just knowing, like, he likes doing the little nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I mean, again, he's borrowing your vernacular, the audacity to name yourself Will Benson. Means
God.
that you're very all about your nudges and your winks.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so they make their way to the island. I was gonna say this song, it's called "That Girl" by Estero, is not a part of the original soundtrack. Oh, see, you were giving me a
Ah,
look like you did not like that song. I kind of love this song.
I don't mind the song.
Plays a long time, and I think that's why it's been stuck in my head for so long.
Yes, it just plays for a really long time. And what made me realize that actually was having the subtitles on because this was the first time I've ever watched this movie with subtitles. You know, when you've seen a movie enough times, you don't even really need to know what the fuck they're saying because you know. So watching it with subtitles, it's like, oh my gosh, this song is still fucking playing.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad song.
And then, of course, being 1999, we're pre 9/11, so literally anybody can, I guess, jump on any plane. It doesn't matter. And then,
Hmm.
two, we're also post Titanic. So anytime anyone is on a boat, you are obligated to say, "I'm the king of the world."
Yes, that is very true. But that's cute. I like that they did that because that's totally accurate.
That's true. Bunch of 20-year-old women in 1998, 1999
Hmm.
probably would be
Hmm.
recreating that with their friends. So
Yes.
that's fair. So we get to the island, and then this is where we meet a lot of the help, our
Hmm.
off-season crew. So we've got Derek, our dockhand, who I like. He seems like a
I
nice
love
guy.
that he does the fake accent to like
Yeah,
ham it up.
yeah,
I
it's pretty
love
good.
that.
And then you have Titus, who I guess I watched this movie a million times, and I know Mekhi Phifer does refer to him as the pool boy, but
Mm,
up until this point, I was not sure what his role was, or if he just lived on this island, or if he was
yeah.
like the gardener because he also grows weed and has shears in wherever this place is that he gets
Oh,
killed.
maybe a little bit of both.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So,
What I like about Titus, because I think he's just a terrible character,
yes.
and Jack Black really does his best. But
Mm,
what I love about Titus is this man existed, like, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s. He absolutely existed. I've met many Tituses, and they're the worst, the absolute worst. So that's one thing that makes me laugh about Titus is I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a real person. This person exists. And that's why it's so much more cringy that he's there. He's like this time capsule of terrible, this combination of appropriation and stupidity and just all the things. Yeah, he's just terrible.
But unlike a time capsule, maybe this one should just stay buried.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't need to dig that up. Just
Yeah.
like I'm sure Jack Black feels, he's like, that's why I'm going to separate myself from this early on, because
Yeah,
yeah,
he does and says so many dumb and terrible things. Another thing that I really like about them arriving on the island is how fucking packed this resort is.
yeah.
There are so many people, and while I do appreciate that they have people leaving the resort, you can see people like leaving with their bags when they do like that long shot zooming out.
Hmm.
There's still a lot of people just chilling, and that last ferry is leaving at 6. So I find it unrealistic that everybody fucking left that night. There had to have been other people who didn't know about the storm or whatever it was. So I think they could have reeled it in with how many extras there were in the background. It felt like a lot of people.
And gosh, and there's literally nobody in this lobby. You think there's so many
Hmm.
people checking out at least,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
we I love Carla, but I hate people that go up and see one of those little ringer things for service and just hit it over and over and over and over and over again. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You need to stop.
Yeah, no.
But we get introduced to a very lovely pup who we never see again for the rest of the movie. So I'm assuming the
Oh
dog
yeah.
survives.
Yeah, he ran off.
Yeah.
Smart.
Where? It's an island. I don't know how far it's
See,
gonna
I
go.
mean, away from the danger.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. You'd think all like the lightning and stuff would spook him out. I don't know.
Hmm.
But I did check, does the dog die for this movie? And no, it's yeah, they make no reference to this dog for the rest of this movie. So that's very
Mm-mm.
strange. But you're also introduced to Olga, the maid,
Mm.
who is giving me like Get Out vibes at first because she like doesn't even acknowledge him and just like walks away and
Yeah,
like
she just
doesn't cut.
leaves. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, why are you acting like this? So it just reminded me of like the maid and the groundskeeper from Get Out.
Yeah,
So
they do their very best to try to make everyone seem a little suspicious. So you're
yeah.
not sure who's doing what, but that seems like a bit of a reach.
Yeah. And you're introduced to Mr. Brooks, who is the hotel manager played by Jeffrey Combs, who
Oh, he's
again,
so good.
just hamming it up, just really being an asshole. Now, granted,
Oh,
Tyrell's also being a fucking dickhead to him too, but
yeah.
it's he's he's probably just like, hey, this is the off season. Like, what? Who the fuck is booked these rooms? Everybody
Mhm.
knows. Like, but also you should probably keep those. Just don't book the rooms if you don't want people in the off season. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but who knows? Maybe it's not up to him. Maybe this is I don't think he owns the hotel. This could be
Hmm.
like a corporate ownership situation of many hotels through the Bahamas. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
he's probably the hotel manager. They keep the hotel open even in the off season, and so probably very few people come through there. But I don't know, to be in hospitality and not be friendly at all seems
hospitable.
like yeah, seems like such an interesting choice. I like it though.
Yeah,
I like his interaction with them, and I also like the way Julie tries to deflect like the tense energy by being like, wow, this is such a beautiful or old and beautiful hotel. And then he just starts like spouting history.
yeah.
Like he has a whole speech. I appreciate that.
I don't know if you've ever seen White Lotus, but I want to see his character as a hotel manager of a White Lotus hotel. I think it'd be great.
I've never seen White Lotus.
Yeah. First season's good. Second season is hard for me to get into, but whatever.
Mm.
Um, so they get checked in. Of course, now they're in the honeymoon suites, which fucking great for Tyrell because he's one track mind.
Mm.
Julie's like, Jesus Christ, you know, because I'm going to be bunking up with Will.
Carla is a great friend through this whole movie, except for this moment.
Mhm.
You need to have a conversation with your friend and say, hey, I really want to share a room with my man. Are you cool with sharing a room with this random guy? Because what she could have done is just said, hey, we're going to take the room for a certain amount of hours. Here's the system of something I'm going to hang on the doorknob or whatever. And then when we go to bed, we'll swap. I would not allow that. Absolutely not. She forces her to share a room with this guy. I don't like that at all.
I don't like that either.
Not one bit.
And I think that's it's not a perfect system that you propose, but certainly a workable system and one that
Yeah.
college roommates should be familiar with, right?
Yeah. And if you're traveling with a couple and you're not a couple, like you've got to know that they're going to need some alone time.
Yeah,
So that's fine. Y'all go down to the bar, you can go down to the pool, whatever, while they're doing their thing, and then y'all meet up. Perfect.
there you go. Poor Tyrell then would just have to be stuck with fucking Will. And if anyone hates Will more than I do, it's probably Tyrell in this movie.
Absolutely. But if he got laid, I think he'd be fine.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
So,
go. Solution.
um,
We've got him.
so Estes takes him to their room. Of course, he's got this weird like, big rooms for kids your age, kind of situation. I'm like, okay, old man, you need to shut the fuck up and leave us alone.
Mhm.
I've been doing this before I was a gleam in your father's eye, which,
Okay.
yeah.
He recognizes Will, it seems. That feels like a very pointed comment.
Um, Maybe he knew then. I don't know, but
Well,
he finds
because
out pretty quick.
throughout the film, he's looking at him very suspiciously, like he might recognize him. Maybe he couldn't place him at first, but I don't know. It seems like he like feels suspicious of him.
Because Will lived on this island, did he
Yes.
not?
Yes, but as a child.
Yeah,
So
I
maybe he
mean,
hasn't seen him for a very long time.
I think if somebody knew me as a child and then saw me now, like I think I have a lot of the same, I've got a lot of childish, chubby little cheek features and such that I think if you thought about it, you'd be like, you look very familiar. Are you that fucking kid? Like I don't know. It's, I
He
don't know.
worked, Ben Willis worked at the hotel, and it's a small island. There's
Yeah.
no chance that that kid wasn't running around at the resort.
Getting into some
I,
shit, fucking being a little bit, being a little asshole,
yes. And
right?
Estes looks like he's been around for a while.
Yeah.
So I think he's just looking at him like very suspiciously. I think I know you type of glances.
Yeah. I think I know what you did one summer, so to speak. The more just very vague like version of this movie.
Yeah,
So
the subplot.
they get checked in, and then this is when they go down to the bar. And then this is where we meet Nancy, played by
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer Esposito. I love her in this movie. I think
Mm-hmm.
she's really fun. She's cute. I would have loved to see more of there is just barely no scene with her and Brandy. I want to see her and Brandy have like a huge extended chase sequence without Jennifer Love Hewitt being a part of it
Yeah, I
because
agree.
the
Three
two of
of
them
them
are
is a bit much.
yeah. I like Jennifer Esposito. I like that she fucks with them, first,
Mm-hmm.
being like, how about some ID first, dickheads? And then
Mm-hmm.
also, they try to give her shit being like, oh, like man problems or whatever. And then she's like, oh yeah, I fucking killed him. And they
Yeah,
get all scared and shit. So she's pretty cool. I like her.
yeah. I don't like that she tells them what drink they're having.
Well, clearly they're 20-year-old, like underage kids that they don't know. They're like just naming off random drinks. But no,
Yeah.
but she says dark and stormy because, it fits the weather. It's a rum drink, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
feel like a little bit of your island self, right? And um it fits the weather. So I don't know. I think
Okay.
that makes sense. But
Okay.
she makes them very quickly though, and they don't look very good. Um So,
Mhm.
but they're children, so it doesn't really matter. She doesn't have to be a good bartender. As
No.
long as it has a liquor, they'll be fine and
It's a
whatever.
resort in the Bahamas. Whether they're children or not, like you're expecting shitty drinks.
So then you get the infamous karaoke scene that was also in the
Mm.
trailers for this movie and
Mm-hmm,
is,
mm-hmm.
appropriately made fun of because,
Ugh, it's so dumb.
well, first, like, I can't stand this song.
Oh, I love that song.
I'm sorry. I
And everyone knows the words to that song.
maybe. Who does this song again?
Gloria Gaynor.
Okay. All right. It's fine. Maybe it just played out, or maybe I just associated with the scene and how dumb it is. Um, but I get it in the spirit of things, right? Yeah, I get it. I will survive, and like literally, I will
Yeah.
survive murder, you know. Um, I guess I just don't know 90s karaoke technology because how do you change those words and change the color of those words?
I don't think that you can because they're already like they're
Right.
like preloaded lyrical tracks, right? Like the videos are they're
Again,
done. They're there.
I don't know how it
Teleprompter.
worked in the 90s. I don't think that's an easy thing to do.
Mm-mm.
Unless you really got that set up. They probably had to add I Know What You Did Last Summer to the lyrics of a number of songs because who knew that she was going to pick that one
Well,
specifically. So
so
she's
do we think
probably there's she could be singing fucking 1988, right? She could be singing Chumbawamba for all we fucking know. And then, I get knocked down and then I get up again. Also very thematically close to this movie, right? And then it showed I Know What You Did Last Summer. Or maybe she's singing a fastball song. I don't Everclear. I don't know.
okay, again, I'm gonna pose the question. You're on one tonight.
Thanks.
I'm gonna pose the question, do we think this actually happened or was she hallucinating? Because no one else saw it.
Yeah, and because everyone just happened to just turn away and just laugh directly in each other's face to the side. So only Julie could see that, and then it isn't there. I'm like, oh, here, just play it again, see if it shows on the screen.
It would
That's
have
what
to.
it could be her hallucinating. I like to think that they were able to do something with the karaoke machine just to be cute and be funny. I
Hmm.
don't know. So I don't know how quickly Will's able to do this because Julie's like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I'm sorry. Goes to the room, then finds the letter,
Hmm.
which is in Ben Willis's handwriting,
Very fun.
you know,
Yeah,
and then,
that's
but
a
this,
that's a that's a good way to psychologically fuck her up.
love it. And now this one says surprise. And then
Hmm.
she turns around and Will's right there. He was just at karaoke. So where does he get these flowers, the wine or the champagne or
No,
whatever? Sneaks into the room and is like right behind her. Like he must have ran like immediately behind her this whole time.
come on. He got to the bar late. She was already there when he showed up. He was the last one to show up, right?
No, he shows up first with
No, he was
Tyrell.
there with Tyrell. Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, this movie doesn't make any sense, and that's okay.
Okay, let's give the movie the benefit of the doubt. Let's say Carla and Julie were getting ready together in Tyrell and Carla's room. So Will had the room to himself to set up his little romantic situation.
That's kind of you to do a lot of the narrative legwork here.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So then we cut to Derek and Titus, who are at the docks.
Mm.
Um, Derek's getting all the boats tied up. You get a little bit of I wouldn't even want to call this a jump scare with Titus and say like,
I
hey,
bet
let's
Derek
go.
fucking hates him.
Oh, I'm sure. He's like, yeah, let's go to the fucking mainland and get weird. And Derek's like, no, dude, like I need to fucking work. We're the staff. We're the help here. And again, I don't know why. Yeah, I guess if I were Ben Willis, I would kill Estes first because nobody else knows what the fuck's
Yeah.
going on. Like, I guess Estes would know because he's been there forever. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Brooks, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, none of these. I just feel bad. None of these people have to die. I mean, I guess they do in the sense where I guess they could potentially help Julie. So we need to kill anybody that would be able to help them in any
Yeah, he
way,
was
I
gonna kill
suppose.
everybody.
So And again, for a guy that's so stuck on revenge, he just kind of kills for whatever reason anyway, you know?
That's what I'm saying. The body count of innocence of like innocent people definitely goes up in this one.
Yeah.
So maybe, he loves revenge so much. Maybe him and Estes like never got along.
Yeah, maybe he was
So
like, I wanted that little library voodoo room to be mine, damn it. And maybe he got like picked for it for seniority, and he's like, fucker. I've been waiting for that fucker to retire, and he said he could pry from my cold dead hands. So
I love the
I
idea of
don't know.
him seeking revenge for every small inconvenience that happens in his life, but he waits a year.
That's his rule. He's like, look, if I'm anything, I'm a man of principle, and if anything, I'm consistent, and I set these rules for myself. And if you cross me, I will come for you with a hook, but I will wait exactly 1 year. So, like, this just happens to be what he does on July 4th. He's probably got some other thing, like every January 12th, the guy at this fucking supermarket that overcharged him for, you know, whoever the fuck, I don't know. Again, I like the idea that he keeps this calendar of all these different dates of, oh fuck, I need to go back and kill this person who cut me off at a red light on May 12th last year. You know, I love that. How many people do you think he brings to the Bahamas?
I think that's special. That's reserved for the really special ones.
But yeah, why does the help have to die? That's rough. Um, so Derek is left behind. He hears a noise. He thinks it's Titus again fucking with him.
Mhm.
He falls off the water or falls into the water off the dock, pulls himself back up, looks up, fisherman's right there. Bam, gets hooked, and then Derek is your next kill here. Poor guy.
Poor Derek. He did not deserve any of that.
Ray, who has woken up at this point.
Forgot he was in this movie.
I know, actually, yeah. So I skipped over the part. Who fuck cares about Ray? I've already skipped past this part where he's at the hospital and you
Yeah.
got the doctors being like, yeah, he's got this crazy story about, again, a real person with a real social security number, Ben Willis, right? Um,
I
telling
mean,
this
they think
story.
he's dead though.
Right. So Ray told all the doctors exactly what happened. He was like, hey, okay, all right, here's what happened. So Ray spilled the beans to them. So I don't know if
That's
there's any
true.
follow-up with that, but
Yeah.
we'll never know because Ray escapes the hospital, just climbs out the window and takes off.
Mhm.
I hope that was a second floor, no higher. I don't know. But he's really good at falling down things.
I don't know how he pulled that off, but I would have been fine with Ray rolling down that hill and then we just don't see him again until the final act. I didn't need him going on this whole like badass revenge journey. He's not selling it
No,
at
this is
all.
not badass. No.
No, it's not. Like it just yeah, that's just it's not a role for Freddie Prinze Jr. And I think it's a glimpse into how bad he would have been at Billy Loomis. And I'm not saying that I dislike Freddie Prinze Jr. as an actor, just not for horror.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, since we are talking about karaoke, in an earlier episode, you asked me what my karaoke song was, and I never
Mhm.
said what it was.
That's true. What's your karaoke song?
Ironically, it's Brandy by Looking Glass. So, which
I
I
love
have
that
talked,
song.
which I have talked about that song before in the
Uh-huh.
last I know you did last summer episode. So, and about it, not the same Brandy. It could be about the same Brandy. I don't know. So, didn't want to forget to share that with you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
So, this is where we cut to the maid's death. How many maids do you think find bloodstains on
Oh,
sheets
it's
for
got to
some
be
reason or another?
it's got to be so frequent. I mean,
That's that's kind of my thought. And then I'm like, so what's the threshold of like the concern level of like when it has to be like, oh, this is enough blood to get worried? You know? I'm not sure.
yeah, I would say, I mean, she's a woman.
Yeah.
So she's probably okay and used to a small amount of blood being on a bed. Like
Hmm.
she's like, okay, like that could be menstrual blood. Totally normal. Accidents happen,
Not murderous. Yeah.
not murderous. But like you know a normal amount of blood being on a bed if you've experienced that in your life. You probably haven't. Uh, but like I'd be able to recognize an unusual amount of blood because of that. So if it was a puddle of blood, then I'd be concerned.
And it was like sopping wet blood. Like it was on her hands
Yeah,
and shit. So it was quite a bit. So I
it was
get,
a lot. Yeah, if it's enough to like imprint onto your hand, that's too much blood.
yeah. Um, yeah, and then the fisherman's right there and kills her. Um,
Another person that just doesn't deserve this.
I was wondering, he drags her into one of the rooms and closes the door, and then you get that zoom up on the door handle and has the do not disturb thing on it. So you're like, oh, ha ha ha, you know. But then I'm
Hmm.
like, she's the maid. Who else would disturb those rooms? Why do you need the sign up?
Yeah, yeah, good
So
point.
unnecessary. But so she's dead. We're gonna find her, I think, in the dryer later. Um,
Yeah.
right. Fucking Tyrell's still trying to get laid. Brandy's like, nope, I see a pool. We're gonna do that first. And he's like, God damn it. Fine.
Can,
Fine. But all right.
can I make an observation here?
Sure.
Okay. So earlier, I don't remember who says this, but they've been dating for 3 months,
Three
is
months. Yeah.
what you learn. And she gets distracted by this jacuzzi, but they've already been there all day. I have a theory, and the theory is that Carla's really just not that into Tyrell because you brought him all the way to the Bahamas, and that wasn't the first thing that you did when you got to that hotel room.
Right.
That, mm. And then she's like jumping on the bed. Like it feels very like he's like in the friend zone. I feel like I don't think it's there.
I think so too.
She
Maybe she was
also does not shed one tear for him at the end of this movie. She's like, let's not tell everyone it rained the whole time. My boyfriend's dead.
yeah, she
She didn't give a shit about him.
yeah, she gets over Tyrell really quick. I think she
Hmm.
was more just shocked and surprised on just how long that fisherman was hiding in the vent and how that would work even. So,
Yeah.
you know,
This 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 guy was never getting laid.
so they're at the jacuzzi, Tyrell and Carla. Of course, he's mad because he keeps getting interrupted. To be fair, Titus is being a real fucking creep,
Oh
eyeing
my
up Carla
gosh.
and swimming around.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't know if I want to swim in that pool if you've been in there with your everything, your smells and whatever I'd imagine is on you and whatever is like unwashed in your hair. I'd be like, I don't know, you're gonna need a little more chlorine in there. Hey, you know, I guess you go to the pool boy about that. And then also Will, who is, was pushed away by Julie. Um,
Hmm.
he's just like, all right, well, I guess I'm just gonna go, whatever. Comes to the jacuzzi, and of course Tyrell's just like, find another fucking jacuzzi, dude. I hate you. Why we only have
I
five people on
I
this fucking island,
love
and you all come right here? What the
I
fuck?
love it. I love his reaction.
I just like how just consistently just mad he is the whole time.
Hmm.
And just like Barry, he only shares this like little bit of humanity very shortly before he dies.
Hmm.
Um, when he shows any sort of kindness to Julie,
Hmm.
or even Carla,
Yeah.
he's a horn dog. Also, we also notice that a couple things are starting to go missing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Tyrell's necklace and Carla's hair tie, which she was looking
Hmm.
for at the jacuzzi. Which I'm just like, hold on, if she brought it with her to the jacuzzi, how did Estes somehow get up to the jacuzzi and grab that from her and like leave? Was he also in the pool? Like he
She
just
must
reaches in
not
and then
she
just
must
sinks
not have
back into the
had it.
water,
She didn't
right?
have
And then Julie can't find her toothbrush either.
it. Yeah, that one I'd be a lot more concerned about. She's like, "Where's my toothbrush?" And just kind of like shrugs and I'm like, "Girl."
You don't brush your teeth for the rest of that trip?
Yeah, I'm like, "You may not be hooking up with that guy, but like you still need dental hygiene."
100%.
Like what?
So So Julie's back at the room. She realizes her toothbrush is gone. She's getting out of the shower. Um, then we get the scene where she finds Derek, the dockhand, inside one of the closets because the blood's dripping again. I don't know how he keeps him up there, and then all of a
The
sudden comes hanging down.
fucking car trunk all over again.
Yeah. And again, a little less messy when you're just dealing with crabs, like this whole extra like animal entity. I'm like, I don't know how you're
Yeah.
able to clean that so quickly. And again, and that's why like Julie is just not the most reliable narrator here because how like we don't know what's real and what's not either. And I'm still not
Hmm.
entirely sure. I also don't even know if fucking what's his face, Johnny Galecki in the back of that trunk was real. I don't know.
Well, we know he was dead,
Well, we know he's
but
dead, right? So who knows? Um, so she flips. She's like,
reasonably
okay,
so.
reasonably so. And then also like, this man didn't deserve it. But then brings everybody back to the room, including Mr. Brooks, as well as Nancy,
Mhm.
who's just hanging out, being like, oh, what the fuck's going on? She's probably just bored. She's like,
Oh
well,
yeah, for sure.
if my only patrons are not at the bar, then I'm just gonna go walk around and hang out, I guess, or just kind of get into some, just kind of get in the little middle of this mystery, which she
Yeah.
probably soon regrets. Um, and then this is where, again, all the boats, they're gone. Everyone's left. There's no
Hmm.
way out. Um, Mr. Brooks says, like, the phone lines are down because of the storm.
Hmm.
Um, I do like how Julie then, after the fact, picks up the phone and tries to dial it. She's like, the phone lines are dead. And Jeffrey Combs just goes, yeah, duh. So I fucking said.
Yeah. He's looking at her like, did you think I was making that shit up?
And he's like, I'm gonna go talk to Derek, the dockhand guy, in the morning, and we're gonna be fine. I'll just calm the fuck down. In case the storm gets fucking wild, we've got the storm shelter, setting that up
Hmm.
because we do visit that storm shelter
Yep.
very briefly later on. And he's just like, I knew y'all would be fucking trouble. God damn it. I'm gonna go to bed.
Hmm.
So we also find out pretty quickly what Estes has been up to. We cut to his like weird, like, this weird library that he has, like books stacked on the wall,
Hmm.
all like stacked though sideways, not like with their like the bindings out, right? So it is just not like a
It's a
suitable
mess.
way. Yeah, it's not a good way to organize your library, like in the slightest. And especially with all those candles and shit in there too, I'm like, this is
Oof.
a fire hazard, my guy.
Yeah. And it looks
But
like a wooden hut as well.
yeah, well, but no, it's in that building.
Is it?
Yeah, it's in the hotel.
Oh, okay.
Right? So, or it's part of the hotel. It's just his room in the
It's just his
hotel.
shit is everywhere. Okay.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So you find out that he's been taking all of their items and
Hmm.
performing some sort of, you know, what we learn is a protective kind of
Hmm.
process or spell or what have you
Did
for
you
the
think
three of
he was
them.
a threat at any point when you first saw this movie?
Never.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah. I thought maybe
Also,
Jeffrey Combs, but I knew it was Will, like from really the beginning.
well, and if you're going to make someone that much of a red herring, like to the point where they're like, oh, it's definitely him, like as an audience, we've seen a white face wearing like the lower part of that face is a white man. So under no circumstances did I ever think it was Estes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like an odd choice.
100%. Yeah. So, or at least like, but maybe like an accomplice or he had some
Sure.
relation to somebody. I don't know. Who
Hmm.
knows? So then we cut to Titus's death.
Hmm.
Which is pretty good.
It's pretty fun.
He's just there smoking weed, just trying to have a good time as he does, as he's probably done many evenings beforehand. Um,
His death is very silly.
his death is very silly. He also has like I believe him when he screams in pain. He does sell it pretty effectively
Hmm.
when he gets like the hook right through the hand, and then again, you're just looking through. I was like, is he a gardener? He's got all this like gardening stuff and he uses the
Yeah.
shears, but I also see like an axe and a bunch of things where I'm like, is
The
this?
utility shed, I guess.
I guess so. And so he uses the shears and then goes, right through them, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Goodbye,
Yeah,
Titus.
I like his death.
Ray is on his journey. This,
Oh,
I
this
was
scene.
wondering, as much as like Scream 3 had to shift a lot. Well, no, this is 98. This was before Columbine. Never mind. I kept operating thinking that this movie was November 99, not November 98.
Mm,
And I wonder if how much this would change, which is how easy it is for this, 19, 20-year-old to just get a
hmm.
gun, a
Who is
loaded
very
gun.
beat up and very angry.
It looks very unhinged and very angry. This
Yeah.
young white man just wanting to get a
Yeah.
gun. And this fucking the guy that plays the pawn shop owner, he's
Hmm.
also a really kick-ass.
Yeah, he's
um
great. What's his name?
so, sorry, I can't remember, but he is in a bunch of stuff. He was in Batman Begins, I remember that. He was also in Bates Motel, I think, that show that was like kind of
He's
good but also pretty terrible.
he's also in one of your favorites. He's in Too Fast, Too Furious, apparently.
Yeah, that tracks. That makes sense.
Hmm.
Um, so Ray, I guess, must be a great negotiator because he comes in and he has this ring and he's like, I don't know, or the pawn shop owner's like 250 best, and Ray's like $300, and then give me that fucking gun and load it. And then he's like, that gun is worth more than the ring itself, dude. I'm not gonna do
No,
that.
he says that gun alone is worth more than $300. So he doesn't say how much, but I'll tell you right now, that ring is worth way more than $300.
You think so?
Yes, the ring,
How do you know? It might even be a fake fucking diamond. I don't know.
it's
It's
not it's a fucking engagement ring that he bought for her. He even looks at the diamond, the pawn shop owner, he looks at it through his little magnifying glass and he's like, "Oh, like he's like that's a carat." Like he it's worth more than
I've
$300.
I don't think he is the best person also to make that call. I mean, we watched Wishmaster. The pawn shop owner takes this to our better, more suited jewelry auctioneer experts, right? So Ray's like, again, I guess a great negotiator because he's like, all right, just give me the gun. And then
Okay.
he's like,
A
uh-huh,
1 carat solitaire ring, just a band. It's white gold, which is what it looks like.
uh-huh.
The first one that came up is $1,700.
Mm,
That's a huge price difference. That's what I'm saying. He spent at least, even in 1998, a grand on that.
okay, fine. So maybe it's a fair, well, not, so maybe that trade, fine.
He
But
is
he's
the
like,
world's worst negotiator.
he's the world's worst negotiator then, because he's just like, yeah, take that gun. And then, like, of course, then the pawn shop owner's like, are you sure you want to go down this road, guy? And he's like, yeah, I'm fucking sure. Fucking don't ask me questions. Load it, you
Yeah,
know?
imagine being in his position. Like giving this guy this gun is he's gonna go shoot someone.
Right.
Absolutely. So that's heavy. Some blood on your hands.
So we cut back to, so Ray's got a gun now. And he's on his way to this island. And we pop over. It's the next morning. Everybody's sleeping in Carla's bed. It's a little cute.
Yeah.
Um, and you know,
Oh, Tyrell.
Tyrell's just still just giving her shit. Like, what is it, Jason? Is it Freddy? Fuck you. This and this and this and this. Like, just being a real
Even
asshole.
yeah, even if nothing is happening, clearly this poor girl is going through something.
Yeah, 100%.
Show a little bit of decency.
Carla's like, let's get ourselves out of this situation. Boys, you go fuck off and do whatever the fuck boys do. I don't give a fuck. We're gonna go hit the gym. because that's what I do to feel better. Let's go. Not me personally. I'm just thinking it's Carla and them.
On
Uh,
vacation? No.
there's people that hit the gym when they're on vacation. People don't, like breaking those patterns.
I think there are people who hit the gym when they're on vacation. I'll kudos to them. Some of us don't go on vacation enough to need to do that. And
Hmm.
I go to the gym if I'm traveling for work, but not on vacation.
So they go to the gym, fucking just the saddest treadmilling you'll ever see. Just pouting fucking Julie. She just looks to give her this pouting look
She's
like,
on it for like
oh,
2 minutes.
yeah. And Carla's like, I'm gonna get my kicks in because
I might have to fight a fisherman.
yeah, I don't believe you yet, but just in case, I'm gonna work on my ass kicking here. And then we find the tanning bed, which Carla just knows where everything is, by the
Yeah.
way.
She probably went around and explored, checked things out.
I guess so. So we have this tanning bed scene because, of course, we need to get Jennifer Love Hewitt, like, in a bikini.
Absolutely. And it's a great excuse for her to put a shirt back on, but not fully, so that you get exposure to tits the rest of the movie.
And I forget exactly what Mackay Pfeiffer and Will were going to look for, but there's a couple things that happen here where they find Titus, they find his body all
Mm.
fucked up, and call back to the dryer from earlier. I don't know why Brandy is fucking with, the hotel's industrial dryers, but she hears that noise, goes through, and then finds the maid inside that dryer.
Mhm.
So everyone's at least finding bodies. I appreciate that everybody gets at least on board pretty quick. I hate when it's still just that, like, only one person's on board or nobody's on board, and it's just that
Yeah.
long time. And like everybody's dead by the time our
Yes,
main characters figure it out.
I like that everybody, like the main core of them, are still alive when we start finding bodies. But I do think it's interesting that, I mean, obviously, Carla has a lot of influence on Julie, but I don't think I would want to get in that tanning bed in that dark room by myself, even if there wasn't the possibility of a psycho killer running around. So it's just so interesting to me that she would do that, because she did find a body, but maybe she thinks it's her imagination. But I would just stay together. I would just be like, Carla, I just want to stay in the gym with you. I'll
Yeah.
get back on the fucking Stairmaster if that's what it takes.
Yeah, I agree. Like, look, even if I'm crazy, even if I'm not, like, look, can you just let's
Yeah,
just cool this down
just
a little
humor
bit.
me.
Don't
Yeah.
put me in this box, because of course, as soon as
Mm-mm.
she does, fucking Ben Willis shows up with his little zip ties, and
Mm.
he keeps a few in his pocket. And again, that's really hard to work a zip tie when you only have one working hand and the other is a hook. I don't know how he did that exactly,
That's a
but
really good point.
pretty impressive still. I'm sure he probably had to practice quite a bit, just fiddling around while she's just got her headphones in there. So um, now she realizes she's locked in. She's screaming. Everybody's
The
finding
terror.
bodies. They, again, great scream.
Hmm.
Everybody comes. They're able to save her by just like eventually just kind of bashing out the handle. I don't know
They
why they
all
just,
they all needed to calm down, because yeah, we could have turned down the machine. She
yeah,
wasn't sizzling. Like, this isn't Final Destination. Like,
right.
it's those tanning beds won't be sizzling anybody. So as soon as they were there, I would have been like, okay, get me out of here. Find some scissors. Please don't smash the glass that I'm lying in.
Please.
That could kill her faster than just being in the tanning bed. So I think that is really funny how they all react to that situation.
So they're able to get her out of there. She gets barely dressed. They run back to the lobby. They're like, we need to find fucking Mr. Brooks. And
Oh,
this is a glorious
it's so
visual.
good.
Him
Yeah.
at his desk, and he just has that still just like that duh like look on his face, with his eyes open and like the teeth
Uh-huh.
out and the hatchet right through his head. And then you've got I still know. I love it.
It's really good. his the staging of his body and the writing is really fun.
I love that. So to be able to do all of that in that time is it's pretty impressive on Ben's part. So they run out to the docks. All the boats have been untied and they're just off in the middle of nowhere, I guess.
Sucks.
Everyone's like, what the fuck is going on? And then this is when Julie's like, ugh. So, okay,
May not have shared the whole story.
we're gonna laugh about this later, I promise you. I'm looking at you, Carla. We're gonna be laughing about this. The other two, maybe not. But so maybe we thought we killed somebody a couple years ago. Maybe this guy with the hook came back and killed a few of my friends, and maybe they never found his body when we thought we killed him. So, yeah, whoops. I guess now he is in control of this Bahamas island. Um, now, like granted, I'm explaining to you as much as I know for context for this background, but there's a lot of this. This is very strange and new to me too. I don't, I'm really not understanding how the Bahamas factors into all of this yet. So I don't know, but here we are, and we are just in our, yeah.
I do too think about if you know or think that it's Ben Willis. It doesn't
Or,
matter who it is,
or
honestly. It's
still no.
yeah, or still no. If you know there's someone chasing after you, killing people,
Yeah.
and they've cut all those boats off, somewhere else on this island, there is a boat because this person has to return or like flee from the scene. So I'd be thinking like could we find this other boat?
Yeah, how's that gonna happen like the next day when like or not where we after the storm season, like they're gonna come back and everyone's gonna be dead. And
Yeah.
I just don't understand what the end game is here and how he's getting off that island.
He's got to have a boat somewhere else. That's what I'm saying. Like they're like, "Oh my gosh, all the boats were cut loose." I'm like, "He didn't fucking fly in a helicopter, so obviously there's another boat. Go find it."
So after Julie explains the whole Ben Willis context at the dock, they're like, well, clearly Estes must know because we haven't seen him. Even though like
Mhm.
Julie is like, no, no, it's Ben Willis. Like it's this other guy. I don't know why we need to think it's Estes, but they were like, hey,
Yeah.
Estes is old. He's weirding us out. He's got to be involved. So let's go find him. They go to his like weird library spell cave. I don't know what the fuck that is.
They are very judgmental of his lifestyle. I will say that.
They are. They're jumping to some conclusions really quick
Mhm.
and some really unfair things. And again, I don't know if this is exactly voodoo. This movie's it's a little loose with whatever it is that Estes is
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
And but they do find the hair tie, the toothbrush.
Mhm.
Tyrell finds his necklace that he puts back
Yeah.
on.
And that's
Uh,
fair that they would be creeped out by that. I'd be pissed if I found my
yeah.
fucking toothbrush in his stuff.
They go back down to the lobby because they're like, fuck. Well, at least now we think it's Estes, or at least this underscores that Estes is a suspicious character.
Mhm.
Um, this is where in the lobby we have our reveal that Brasilia is the capital of Rio. Estes must have like ran by, spun that globe, and then went and hid behind a chair or
I
a desk
know.
or something because she sees the spinning globe, walks over to it, sees that, finds, Brazil,
Uh-huh.
and he just right over her shoulder. I love that. Brasilia. Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to do that? Like with
Yeah,
everything going on, why do you have to scare that poor girl?
with everything going on, you're risking your own life sneaking up behind people. You don't know she's holding a weapon.
Hundred
Playing
percent.
playing games with the globe.
So, and then he starts like walking towards her, like all lumbering and shit. So of
Mm-hmm.
course Tyrell's gonna be like, "Hey, fuck you, let's fucking fight."
Mm-hmm.
Um, SS is like, "It's not me, it's not me. I have an idea of what's going on. Let me show you." To which I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. You can
Tell me.
explain right the fuck here,
Let's have a seat in the lobby, all of us.
where we can all watch all the entrances and exits, and we
Yep.
can have this discussion here. You do not need to
Yeah.
take me to the fucking
Mm-mm.
graveyard to explain this.
Nope. Nope.
I'm
Nope.
good." because now I'm just soaking wet now. And you could have told me all this information later. You don't have to take me to the grave to tell me, like, I believe you that he
Yeah.
probably has some grave that he wrote my name in blood and he probably has an empty ditch and he probably wants me there.
Yeah.
I get it.
Julie would buy into anything that he said if it had to do
Yeah.
with Ben Willis.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You don't have to tell me this shit fucking twice. I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's just start, let's start being solution focused here. Um, so we're back. We're cutting also back over to Ray. Ugh.
Again.
And he just goes, he's like, I need a boat. And then the captain's just like, bro, like, this is not safe. And then he pulls the gun on the captain. It was just like, give me your fucking boat. And you're
Yeah.
just like,
At least he didn't make the captain go with him.
yeah. And good thing, this like helicopter and all this stuff shows up at the end because they didn't get these calls out. It's probably just the trail that Ray is leaving behind, that there's this mad fucking child who escaped from this hospital, that made its way to a pawn shop, made its way a manhunt.
A manhunt, yes.
And then, so I'm sure the pawn shop guy is like calling the police, even though he might not want to call the police because he'll be like, they'd be like, why'd you give him the gun? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Those are pawn shop rules. I'm sorry. I have to be seedy about it. I'm sorry. What do you expect from me? It's my nature. And then the captain being like, well, okay, I'm gonna call this in. Someone just pulled a gun on me and took my boat. And I
Yeah.
think he even said I need a boat to Tower Bay.
Yeah.
So he already knows where he's going. So well, good on that captain for,
Yeah.
that's probably what happened.
Yeah.
Um, now circling back over to they're walking into the forest, like where the graveyard is. Estes is explaining.
Like a full-on history lesson.
Yeah, and it's honestly, but it's so useless information. Like it adds absolutely nothing. It's that like, oh, he used to work here. Okay, sure, there's that connection.
Hmm.
But also his wife and kids. Now, granted, one is Will, the other is Susie, who,
Hmm.
don't want to go through all that backstory again with
Yeah.
Susie, and David Egan. But his wife, who maybe had an affair, maybe didn't, doesn't matter. He chopped her into pieces and like killed her
Mm.
brutally
And apparently was physically abusive
as well.
before all of that.
So I'm like, were Will and Susie like exposed to this? Like, and
Absolutely. He said there was
willingly,
nothing happy about his childhood.
and then they all moved to Southport
Hmm.
later. And
Obviously.
was Will not in that public school system either? Like, how? And it's not
Yeah,
that big
because
a town.
he's the same age. Susie would have been older,
Yeah,
like much older.
we're assuming he's the same age as Julie.
And Southport's supposed to be a pretty small town.
Yeah, so how many fucking high
Yeah,
schools
that's
are
the
there?
thing. The timeline is very confusing
Yeah,
because we at least know that David Egan went to high school with Elsa.
yeah,
So he would have been the same age as Susie. So at least somebody went to high school in Southport.
I guess so. But
Was Will just this like hidden child?
I guess so. And who even knows what his real name is? Is his name Will Willis? Because that's dumb.
I
Maybe
didn't
that's
even
why.
think about
And maybe
that.
that's why he would change it to Benson. Like one, because of the nudge, nudge, wink, wink, and two, because Will Willis is just a dumb name.
Terrible. The terrible, terrible name.
Sure, he got made fun of plenty. That's why you think Julie would remember him.
If his name was Will Willis, they definitely would have remembered him.
Called Willie Willis. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't totally add up or make sense, but they had to find a way to connect this Bahamas situation, I guess.
Yeah, and it's real weak. Don't need it.
Yeah,
Um,
it doesn't make sense.
Julie's fed up, and we have our redux of the what are you waiting for, huh? Now it's
They
come and
doubled
get
down
me.
though. They doubled down because now she's soaking wet with a bikini top underneath a very much unbuttoned shirt.
I didn't check and see if a pervy child wrote this part. It might have just been just an
I don't
adult. The
Yeah,
pervert.
I think it was an adult pervert this time.
Yeah. So it's like,
I just
like
always wonder, like, okay, this is just out of curiosity. I always wonder, does Jennifer Love Hewitt make the active decision? Like, she's like, okay, obviously they've wardrobed me this way. Like, they're trying to show off my breasts. Does she make the active decision to be so bouncy? Or does the director actually have to say to her, hey, like, can we do that again? But can you, like, just put a little more bounce in it? Like, I'm just so curious because it's very clear both times that she does a very obvious bouncing. Yeah, like her shoulders are practically like it's looking like Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. So,
I think there was probably some encouragement. I would,
yeah, they're like really
right?
get into it. Like chest out, girl.
Yeah.
Shoulders back.
So while she's doing this whole spinning thing, Estes is like, well, okay, see you all later. Goodbye. I'm gonna leave you here in the woods. It just leaves.
Yeah.
So Will's like, well, let me go by myself after Estes.
Uh-huh.
The rest of you all go back, and they go back to the kitchen, where they'll find Nancy in the pantry. Um, and then Will runs after Estes and then does find that boat. That must have been what, just that little rowboat is
Little
probably what.
rowboat. Yeah.
I don't know if that was his or if that was the one that Ben and Will thought that they were going to escape together in. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, that also seems like a terrible plan to try to escape on a rowboat in a storm.
Yeah, I don't think
I
you'd
mean,
get
you've
very
lived
far.
on this island. You know these waters.
You would think. So Will's like, "Hey, where you going?" And then Estes is like, "Had enough of you, motherfucker," and then just knocks him out
I love it.
with the paddle. And again, I'm still thinking like, "Oh yeah, okay, so definitely Will is the suspicious one. It's not going to be
Hmm.
Estes, you know."
Absolutely. Okay, another thing too, going back to the graveyard scene,
Uh-huh.
Julie asks the group what the date is.
Mhm.
And girl, you know it's the 4th of July.
I know.
There's never a day of the year that I feel like confident that I know the date other than like my birthday, Christmas, and the fucking 4th of July.
Yeah, she's like Ebenezer Scrooge at the end of Christmas Carol, being like, "What day is this?" And it's like, bro, you were visited by three ghosts. This whole thing's been about Christmas. You know what day it is. It's same thing with Julie. Like, why do you have to ask?
You
You know
know
what
it's
day
the
this
4th
is.
of July. I thought that was the funniest shit. Every time it makes me laugh so hard.
Yeah. So the rest of the group makes its way to the kitchen. Tyrell, I mean, whether he's talking about sexual hunger or other hunger, he's just always like, I want, I'm hungry. Let's go do this, you know.
Hmm.
So they are trying to scrounge for some food for the kit from the kitchen. They make their way into the pantry, and this is where they find Nancy.
Mm,
Um,
hiding.
who, man,
She's being smart.
if it weren't for the rest of that group, she would have probably been okay.
Absolutely.
That sucks. But I mean, I guess, I'm sure fishermen get hungry too. So I'm sure maybe he would have hit up the pantry eventually. I mean, at least he would know. He's like, There's also that bartender. I should probably find her." So who knows? But at
Yeah,
least she'd
that's
be
true.
able to, I think, buy her time until morning when the helicopter arrived.
I think she would have made it. Yeah.
Yeah. Ray is in the throes of the storm, trying to call in on the radio, being like, I need emergency assistance. I bit off more than I can chew. This is,
Well,
I'm in a bit of a mess right now, getting through this storm.
another situation where, okay, we've had to watch Ray on his bullshit journey this entire time. No one
Yeah.
cares. But if we would have just even cut this part out, you may have forgotten that he was in this film. And I think that would have made it more heroic and fun when he actually shows up. Because, when you're watching a movie and you kind of forget that somebody is even like in it. And then at the end, you're like, oh shit, this guy, that could have been Ray's moment. He could have been that guy. But instead, you're like, oh, finally, you fucking made it. And how did you even know that they were in the graveyard?
He's probably wandering around like an asshole, being like, I don't know, where's he's now walking himself through the events of the movie and finding each of the bodies. Maybe trying to piece it together. He goes to Estes's place. He's taking his time before he's like, oh, okay. Oh, graveyard. Or maybe
Yeah,
again, it's not a big island. Maybe like the forest with the graveyard's like literally just right over there and you can see them. I don't
that's
know.
true.
The
Yeah.
layout of this island isn't super well mapped out.
Yeah, it's not really well mapped out. I feel like the odds are that Ray just got lucky. It was just dumb luck that got him
Yeah.
to that graveyard right in the nick of time.
So we're back at the kitchen and they're having a conversation with Carla. Carla's like, you're sorry, no, with Nancy. My apologies. Carla's there. And Nancy's like, fuck, I've never seen a dead body before. And Julie's like, we better fucking get used to it. And you're just like,
Just being a bitch for no reason.
lady, I mean, granted, yes, I know you're a victim, Ben Willis, yes, but also you brought all of this energy and shit to this island, not fucking me. So,
And to my pantry, my awesome hiding place.
yeah, you brought this to me. So, fuck off. Let me process this.
Yeah.
By the chance they can even continue that conversation, Tyrell interjects and he's like, I'm just to remind everybody, in case anyone forgot, he is hungry, he is horny. And still has yet to see this fucking fisherman, nor will he ever, because
Mm.
as dumb as this is,
I love it.
it's still a pretty cool kill.
I love his kill.
Oh,
It does catch you off guard.
yeah. Probably the first time, my 10-year-old little self was like, whoa, shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's all like fucking just shaking and
I
gyrating
love
and
it.
shit as he's being pulled up with the hook through.
Hmm.
Like that's great.
It actually might be my favorite kill of both movies. Like the
Yeah.
actual kill itself, not like a chase or anything like that, just the actual kill. Because it's
Mm,
probably the most visible one.
yeah, Johnny Galecki's character in the first one,
Oh,
I
that's a
think
good one
because
too.
there's a little bit more of that suspense, with
Hmm.
like the fog and all the
You know
ice
it's
blocks
coming.
and stuff, and then also just that streak of blood when he drags him
Mm.
across and you got that shot from above. Um, that one and Tyrell are probably
Hmm.
my 1A and 1B probably for favorite kills of the series.
Yeah, Tyrell, I think, has like a little bit of an edge because of the element of surprise.
Right. And you get to know him a little bit more, than
True.
you do with I keep forgetting his fucking name, Johnny Galecki's character in the first one. What's his name?
I don't even
Oh, jeez. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
But
What
I what I like about this movie is that you do get more downtime with all of the characters. You get to know all of them a little bit better.
about
Yeah.
and
There's more fun to be had.
I always forget how much of this movie takes place like before they get to the island, I
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care for any of it until they get to the island, but it's it's all unnecessary. But yeah,
Hmm.
you do get some time with them that's not like right into like a traumatic situation like you have
Yes.
with Barry and Helen, that original group.
Hmm.
This leads us to, I would say, the best chase scene of the movie.
It's long.
It's a long one
Hmm.
involving Nancy, Carla, and Julie being chased by the fishermen through
Hmm.
all sorts of places in the hotel. Now, granted, does this even hold a candle to the chase scene with Sarah Michelle Gellar in the first one?
No.
No, 100% not. But it's still fun enough. And again, really, as far as like extended chase scenes, this is really actually kind of maybe all you get in this movie. Um,
Here's the thing though.
yeah,
If you're gonna do a chase scene, we've got one fisherman. Let's do the math here. One fisherman. And
yeah,
you've got three very fit women. Like
yeah.
we know at least two of them work out. So, like, and are doing fucking kickboxing and shit. I feel like they could have taken him. Like, at some point, is your is running really going to like help you? At some point, you're going to have to face this person
If all three of them came at him
with a weapon.
with the kitchen knives that they were arming themselves with in the
Hmm.
kitchen, which they never use.
Yeah. One of them might have died.
Maybe, but even then it's like oh, the hook again is such an unwieldy weapon that
Yeah.
like a hook is not your close range weapon. You really need to like have a full reach with
Yeah.
with some gusto behind that swing for that
Hmm.
hook to like
The
really
angle
work.
has to be right.
And then even then, just to like with the way it got in through Tyrell's neck, it's like you have to kind of like work that back out, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So it's again, I really think they would have had the upper hand if they just wanted to just fight him right there. I
Yeah.
agree.
I don't wish they would have done that because the chase is fun, but I think about that a lot when I see like three people being chased. It would have been more fun probably if there were two and they got separated.
Right. So they're being chased through. They make their way through the attic. This is when we find out that there's like a one-sided mirror over, I think, both of the rooms, the honeymoon suites.
Yeah, which is, I don't think that that's the fisherman that did that.
Well, and that was my thing where I was like, okay, maybe that's how he could have maybe confirmed that maybe something was going on with his
Oh,
wife.
yeah. I didn't think about that.
But then,
Absolutely.
but I still agree that he didn't do that himself, right? He didn't build that,
No,
install any
some
of that
other
himself.
perv for the
Yeah,
hotel definitely had that installed. They were like, oh, people are going to be fucking for sure in the honeymoon suite. Let's get that two-way glass on top of this bed. And now every time there's a mirror in a hotel, I'm going to be thinking about this.
yeah, usually that or Candyman. Um, so I
Either
can't
one.
trust mirrors over the bed. I can't trust mirrors in the
Mm-mm.
bathroom. I just don't trust mirrors. That's why I just don't do it.
A lot of evil going on with mirrors.
100%. So Carla falls through this, and this is where they get separated a little bit. Carla falls through, is chased through the fisherman, makes her way to, I always forget the name of the fucking, what the name of that
It's
building, like a
a greenhouse.
greenhouse. Okay.
Hmm. Which totally idiotic for Carla to just be standing 2 feet on the glass. Obviously, you want to go for the structure of the building, not the glass. Like, you've got plenty of places to put your feet.
Yes.
Terrible decision.
Yeah. So it's again, this is the best the movie gets at a chase scene, but also it's it's not a very good one. Still fun.
Yeah.
I think I would like, the concept of like her on the other side of the door. Of course, Nancy has like all the millions of keys. Oh, it's always that.
Ugh.
Have you seen there was like a while where there were like these like TikTok reels of people practicing like you have one person that's just slowly walking behind them, like Michael Myers style, and then them running up to a door, trying to unlock it as fast as they can.
Oh my
While,
gosh, that's so fun.
yeah, oh, geez,
W-
I panic.
We should practice that.
We probably should. You need to be really good at opening a door, unlocking it, and then locking it from the other side as fast as fucking possible. You really want to speed run that shit.
But in this case, with this particular building, it's a greenhouse. It's mainly glass. Why are we wasting time with keys?
Yeah, just
We saw
break some
how
windows.
flimsy the roof was. Like, you probably could just knock something into it and just knock down that whole door, or like the windows right on the side of the door. I just think that's so funny that they go through all that.
But if the whole building was made of glass, I'd worry that, like, I think, like, yeah, pick up a giant pot, throw it through the wall that's made of glass. But I'm like, you probably don't want that whole structure of sharp glass coming down on you.
I don't know that it
Maybe,
would.
and I don't know if they're really thinking through all of those things
Mm-mm.
yet. So,
No.
this is me with 25 years, 26 years of analyzing this, deeply.
Absolutely.
So they're able to get her out of there. And the three of them run to the storm shelter. They find all the bodies again. Of course, you have that like, Carla, hold my hand. And she's like, I
Oh my
am holding
gosh.
your hand. And it's like, you would know if this is some cold ass, bloody man's hand that you're holding on to and not some frail little white woman's hand. Like, come on, Carla.
It's the
But
same as in Idle Hands.
yeah,
The cold dead hand like groping that woman. You would recognize a cold dead hand on your body.
you would think. And of course, the lights are on. You see the bodies. They're all screaming, but I'm like, these are bodies, some of which you've all seen before. I don't know why
Yeah,
you're all shocked again.
we knew all these people were dead.
Yeah. And Will shows up.
Hmm.
He's like, guys, come with me. It's safe. Yeah, don't worry.
I'd be very much suspicious of him. Like, where the fuck have you been this whole time?
Yeah, dude. Like, what was going on with you and Estes? what the fuck? And
Mm-hmm.
he's saying some bullshit, just like this very just vague generalities, just like, oh yeah, yeah, I think I saw it somewhere else. Don't worry. Oh, don't worry. I think we're safe here. Don't even worry about it. As
Yeah.
he's leading them away, back into the
Mm-hmm.
lobby, or no, to the bar, that in that bar restaurant
Yeah.
area. That's where they go.
Yeah.
Um, they make their way back there, and Nancy and Carla leave, I think to go grab something behind the front desk. And this is where we get our will reveal. He really could have held off on this for much longer because
I know.
clearly no one was questioning him already. So I don't know why he had to just kind of
He could
give
have
that
killed
information away.
he could have killed more people or like let his dad kill more people. And this is a perfect example of why it's not good to split up.
100%. Yeah, just don't ever leave your friends. Carla
Mm-mm.
should know better. Like, be like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not leaving you again.
Yeah, we've been through this.
We're sticking together. And our new bartender friend, who I think had the saddest death.
The saddest?
Yeah, in this
Why? Because it
movie.
was undeserving?
Well, I don't think anybody really deserved to die in this movie outside of Will and Ben, but I think just I don't know, because it's like, oh man, like that's no fault of her own. She had all the plans to live and
Yeah,
all the
she
abilities to live, but still,
she definitely did, but also I feel like she could have pushed that man off of her, even if he was dead weight.
yeah, she could have tried to like
Like
roll into or something.
yeah, she really didn't put much effort into that. Like I wasn't believing that he was keeping her down. If it's life or death, you're gonna work that muscle.
So she's killed by the fisherman because obviously Estes shows up. He's been speared. He falls on Nancy, and then of course, Fisherman pushes the spear through the both of them. Um, and then this like weird thing where like the fisherman like slashes at Brandy, and then she falls through another pinch. Well, she's always crashing through glass in this movie.
Yeah.
So did you think Brandy was dead at this point? Because he slashes her with the hook, and then she like falls back, but you don't. It's from behind, so you don't see like
I
what's
don't
happened to her.
I don't remember if I thought she was dead the first time I watched this, but the way in which she's attacked could definitely leave it either way. But I feel
Yeah,
like if she was killed, there would have been like a dramatic swell in the music and like, Julie yelling out Carla, whatever it may be. So it felt very likely that she was going to survive.
right. But that's the rest you see of Brandy for the rest of the movie
Yeah,
until the
which is a
very end.
bummer.
Yeah, very much a bummer. So Will is hamming it up, being like,
Hmm.
"What's your favorite radio station, Julie?"
I love that he does that. That's super fun.
Yeah. Or like this really weird, like quick to like smiles and then to like stern looks. Like it's pretty
Hmm.
cartoonish.
Yeah, yeah,
It's it's I like it though. It's fun. It's
yeah,
cartoon
yeah.
villainy. So he drags her off. They're at the graveyard and he's getting everything set up. She's like, "Why are you doing this?" Um, and just
The best.
the dumbest thing. Get it, Julie? Ben's son?
Her face.
I
I would, at that point, I'd be like, really? Fucking really?
I would just
How
be so
clever.
exhausted at this point. I'd just be like,
Yeah.
what the fuck, dude? Really? Fine. Okay, fine. Whatever.
Haha.
You could say
You
fucking
got
anything,
me.
dude. Yeah, sure. Fine. Benson. Okay. Now I'm gonna ask like anyone that has that name or the SON name, I don't know. Now the fisherman meets them at the graveyard and being like, "Hey, let's all come to this. I'm gonna fucking kill you, Julie. I know what you did last summer." To which I'm like, again, if I were Julie, I'd be like, "No, dude, I know what you did last summer and the summer before that, fuckers. So like, get
Yeah.
the fuck out of my fucking face.
I
If
had
anything,
one wild summer. You've had a few.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're at 3 wild summers. I'm at like 1.5. Get the fuck out of here. Because that second part, like that was I didn't do shit. That was just you fucking coming
Hmm.
after me. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
And I didn't even fucking kill you the second time. One, because you're not dead. And two, your dumbass fucking got your hand caught on that fucking rope and launched out. I didn't do anything, dude. You fucked yourself up on that one.
It's
So do
true.
not come for me. Get the fuck out. So she's just sick of this shit. Um, Ray shows up.
Finally.
All of that, Ray. All of that, Ray, and you can't get a fucking shot off, you dumb idiot. And
Hmm.
you get this fight between all of them. Will's really beating the shit out of Ray. You think that'd be more of an even fight, but I guess Ray is also probably has probably some broken bones
Yeah,
and
he's
some.
got his one arm in a sling,
Yeah, that's
and
it.
he doesn't seem like he would know how to fight.
No. Well, no, I mean he handles Ben Willis pretty easily on that boat in the first one.
That's true.
Like Ray had the upper hand like almost the whole time. It was really just Julie distracting him that kept fucking him up.
That's
Her
true.
just screaming her fucking head off left and right. And I would too if I was finding my friends just frozen bodies
No, but
in
she
a
also
ice
like
cellar.
yells out his name
It's
when he's
awful.
in the middle of a fight. Like he's ready to like give a finishing blow, and she's
Good for him though that Ben and Will are very clumsy, or maybe Ray is just very slippery, just due to like just the rain and everything. Because Ben's like, stand him up, and Will's like, God, like fucking Ray. And he's like, yeah, all the things are gonna do to your fucking girlfriend, buddy. Guess what? Fuck you. You shouldn't
yeah.
have come. Stop with the hero shit. And then just really dramatic. Ben comes in with the hook. Ray's like, bam, I got a free arm. Joke's on you. One arm's broken,
Mhm.
the other one's still good. Elbow you in the fucking face, slid down, and then just like a dumb asshole like a couple just dumb assholes with eggs on their face. Fucking Ben puts a hook right through Will's heart
Mm,
and he kills his own son, which
damn.
really brings everything kind of full circle where he
Oh.
originally his whole thing was avenging the death of his daughter that ultimately resulted in him killing his own son. So it's at what cost, Ben? Like he's I don't know if the
Wow.
movie's that smart to tie all that
No,
together.
it's not.
I think it
That's
stumbles
all
into
you.
anything.
It's
Yeah.
decades of evaluation.
So yeah, fuck. And then, of course, Ben, you catch him, you got his one moment of weakness, right? Where he's distracted, being like, fuck, I just killed my son. And Julie's like, guess what? Found the gun, motherfucker. And I know how to shoot because I'm not fucking dumb.
Because I did target practice in between these summers.
Yeah, pop, 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 just fucking die.
Doesn't get a
Um,
headshot though.
uh, Always need to do a headshot.
Plenty of opportunity.
And then he falls in Julie's grave.
Hmm.
Yeah, dang. Gets all covered in mud and shit. It's looking like an asshole.
Stupid asshole.
And then for all we
Yeah.
know, we saved the day. Or at least all of our survivors are okay.
Yeah.
Um, I appreciate Carla living because after all of this bloodshed, and
Ugh.
it's just Julie and Ray left. I don't know. If I were Carla, I'd be like, no, 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 no. I am telling the cops everything.
Yeah.
I am none of this. Like, I don't know why
Yeah.
he's after us. Now I know, and I will share that fucking shit. And
Yeah. I'm gonna tell them the whole story.
I owe you nothing.
She's like,
Get the
but
fuck
thanks for
out of
getting
here.
me out of that 3 month relationship I wasn't really into.
Yeah. Just don't tell anybody it rained the whole time. Yeah. So it's the next morning. Of course, yeah, they embrace because Carla's still alive. That's great. Um, she's cracking jokes. She's like, she's good. She's like, hey, Ray. Um, and then gives like look at Julie like, hey, don't tell him all the shit I was talking on him and how I really
He
tried
did
to.
kind of save the day.
And she did really try to force that relationship with the son of the guy who was trying to
Ooh,
kill
yeah,
her.
so maybe they call it even.
I think they do call it even.
Hmm.
And maybe she's like, hey, so I don't know. I just feel like that gives like Ray all the ammo. He's like, he can be a pretty shitty boyfriend, but he's like, oh, really, Carla? You have a better idea of who Julie should date? What happened last time? What happened last time, by the way? Good old Will, huh? Where there's a will, there's a way, huh? Funny, Carla. So I'm sure everyone's like, look, water under the bridge. We're good. The
Yeah.
helicopter arrives and our survivors survive. We've got our epilogue, just like we did with the first movie. Fucking again, if we're assuming this is a year later, because Ben would only attack a year later, right? So this has to be,
I literally wrote down how long after is this supposed to be? I didn't even think about that. It would have to be a year. So these are 21-year-olds that have bought a home.
yeah.
Presumably she's still in college.
And he's still fishing, marinering,
Yeah.
marining.
So I'm assuming that this is another one of her nightmares that like starts off as a dream because the home ownership alone is unrealistic.
Ray is just like really enamored with this fucking toothbrush. He's
So
just
much,
like,
so much so that he's willing to risk not getting laid
yeah.
because he is really he's doing the full 3 minutes that the dentist prescribes on those teeth.
I think he's being a little overly vigorous with his brushing, especially with those electronic toothbrushes,
Yeah,
you
you don't
know?
need to really. He's going to town, that movement. But
I know. He's just like, and he just seems like, I love this thing. But then of course, she's in bed. I guess at some point she napped again or whatever. She takes a lot of long day naps. And then she's ready to go to bed. We get a shot of, muddy boot footprints like coming in through the back
mm,
door. Which I'm like, it
mhm.
seemed like a really nice day out. So he really had to go on of his way to find like a muddy spot to be a dickhead and just make a mess on their fucking
He's
floor
like,
like that.
yeah, you're gonna have to mop that shit now.
Yeah.
Be the last thing you do before you die.
Yeah, he's like, fuck, there's nowhere muddy up here. He's on the side of the house, like, turning your hose on and just like putting like in the flower beds and just getting his boots all, always the same mud that he's covered with. He just hasn't bathed since he was covered in mud in her grave the year
Oh,
prior.
probably. Yeah.
Jeez, that's not sanitary either.
I mean, that's another indicator that it would be a nightmare as well, because she's picturing him as she last saw him.
And then how do those muddy footprints, do they just eventually stop or do they go all the way to the bed where he's underneath?
I
It
mean,
doesn't show
eventually you're
that.
gonna run out of mud.
I guess so. Or maybe he gets in and maybe he was just trying to be courteous. He comes in, he's like, oh fuck, there's mud on my shoes. Let me kick my boots off. So he's probably just wearing his socks or whatever. And just leaves them by the
Just
door.
slips on race slippers.
Yeah. Um, and then is hiding under her bed. She thinks she hears a sound. She sits back up. He's under the bed, grabs her, pulls her under,
Hmm.
scream. We know this isn't real. This is just
Hmm.
some other dream sequence. Um, that brings us to the end of this movie. Whew, we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this. I'm glad I'm glad that Julie and Ray are fighting pretty much this entire movie because
Mhm.
whenever they are in a situation where they have to be affectionate towards each other, it's really painful to watch.
Yeah,
Like really painful to watch. Even like when he's like, "Don't fall asleep, girl." Like I'm like, I'm not convinced that the two of you want to be together, should be together, none of it.
I agree.
Yeah, it's rough. So that's my only other thought on this movie. How about you?
Yeah, that's all I got. So, are there any taglines for this movie?
There are, and they're fun.
Okay, let's hear them.
We've got 9.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
more more than the first one.
This is a
So
long episode already, so let's rapid
I
fire.
know,
Let's
I
go.
know. We're gonna get the boring ones out of the way first.
All right.
I still know.
Okay, does that
It's
happen where your tagline is just the first part of the title of the movie? It's so weird. I
yeah, that
still
is
know. I still know
that's
what she did
weird.
last summer. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
okay.
The story continues.
Hey, they're not lying. The story does
Hmm.
continue. Sure.
It's happening again.
I mean, I guess that's also true. So sure.
Okay. So those are the ones that are not fun.
Those are the practical ones.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Then we have some secrets will haunt you forever.
Okay, that's a good one. I
I
think
like
that's
that one.
okay. Solid.
So someone is dying for a second chance.
Hmm. Nah, I mean, no, but okay, fine.
Okay. Two versions of the same vibe. The sequel that will hook you again. Well, that doesn't make sense actually,
So the
because the sequel
sequel,
isn't what hooked you the first time.
yeah, so that's confusing. That would
Okay.
be for the third one.
So this one's better. Get hooked again.
Okay, that's a good one.
I like that one. Some people never forget.
Clearly, this guy probably keeps a
The
calendar of all the
calendar.
things. Yeah,
Some people are very organized.
yeah. I am not one of those people. I will not remember you, even if you have some personal affront. I don't know.
And I think I like this one the best, so I saved it for last. The man with the hook is back, and this time he's really mad. It's just so dumb.
He shouldn't be because I think he should just cut his losses after that first one.
Yeah, he
I don't,
lost. Like they won the battle.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Just use that hook, cut your losses. I still know what you did last summer.
that's the taglines. So my favorite is get hooked again. And then the man with the hook is back, and this time he's really mad.
Yeah. Mm, I can't say I like any of them, but yeah, probably Get Hooked is probably my favorite one. Or Get Hooked Again.
Mm.
Okay. Boo scores. Do you mind going first?
I was going to ask if I could go first because I really don't know where you're going to go with this. I know you have a very deep love for this movie. My boo score is generous for a
Hmm.
couple reasons. One, I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's
Yeah.
very fun. I would rather rewatch this than the first one.
Hmm.
Like, if, especially if like I was watching it with other people, I think it would be more fun because it's silly and you can make fun of it a lot. And I had to give it a higher score than I Know What You Did Last Summer because I do like this one better than I Know What You Did Last Summer,
Hmm.
which is hard to say out loud. So I'm going to give it 3.5 booze.
Love that. Well deserved.
I can't wait to hear what yours is.
Now, again, nostalgia has a
Hmm.
lot for this movie. And then
It can get you
also,
far.
I don't think that there is any sort of scientific or consistent rationale with how I award booze. Um, and this movie, it just has a very special place in my heart. I love it so much. Like you said, this is way more rewatchable and way more fun than the first one.
Hmm.
Now, when I think of the first one being a better movie, I'm really only thinking about very specific parts
Yes.
of that first movie. And again,
Yes.
just like we talked with I Know What You Did Last Summer, I forget how boring stretches of that movie are.
Oh, to the
And
point where I check out completely.
yeah, whereas like this one is crisp, it's going,
Mhm.
it's like even if it's dumb, it's just kind of consistently, it's always chugging along. And
Mhm.
I like all of these side characters much better.
Yeah.
Obviously, you get more blood with the
Mhm.
kills and having more kills, even though he's poor, he's poor, the poor help. They don't deserve any of this.
No.
Um, you separate Julie from Ray for almost the entirety of the movie, so that's
Yeah,
good. That's a
it's a
plus.
treat.
I think too, this movie being not written by Kevin Williamson,
Mm.
I do think that there is a noticeable difference. Maybe a little bit in quality, yes, but also it's like how it seemed like even though I Know What You Did Last Summer was written before Scream, it was like almost like he came back and kind of screamed up the dialogue a little bit
Yeah,
more.
for
Whereas in
sure.
this sequel doesn't have that. It
No.
is really this movie could have been released in 1988 just as
Hmm.
much as 1998. It is just very much your straightforward 80s slasher. Um, and I love it for that. And I think also by it not having just the Kevin Williamson of it all. I think it's able to like not be as just shrouded in Scream's shadow like the
Hmm.
first one is too. So this movie is its own vibe. The Bahamas thing is bonkers.
Yeah.
I certainly like this movie better than the first one. I'm gonna give it 4 boos. I love it.
Okay. I thought for a moment you were going to give it 5. I'm not going to lie.
No, I do need to be somewhat rational.
Okay. That's fair. 4 boos is solid.
Because I still, what did I forget what I gave Urban Legend because I still like Urban Legend better. But even though this movie still, I don't know, I just looked at this movie specifically out of those grouping of movies that like had, I just have the most memories of, you
You
know.
gave Urban Legend also a 4, and I gave that one a 3.5 as well. So,
Dang.
yeah,
So yeah,
that
that's
checks
what
out. So look, we are more consistent than we think we are. Look at us.
look at that. And I do think we finally broke our
We
streak
broke
of
the
having the
streak.
same boo score. You know,
Mm-hmm. It was 8 movies strong.
dang. We'll see if we're able to get back on that. Anything else you want to share about this movie before we wrap up?
No, super fun. Love it.
This movie kicks ass. I'd recommend it to anybody.
Oh,
Don't even need to
absolutely.
watch the first one. Who cares?
You don't. Yeah, you could,
Yeah.
if you don't know the story of the first one enough to know like if there's some guy after her that just wants revenge, that's all you need to know.
Yeah, I mean, the more you start to like even care about the background, it's the more just bullshit the whole thing is. Like,
Yeah.
don't look too much into the story and how
Mm-mm.
and thinking that even like watching the first movie is going to like make the second one like make more sense because it really doesn't. This movie really challenges you to not think about it. Do not
Yeah,
think about it at all. So
I agree.
yeah, I love this. So yeah, fuck. I'm really excited. I don't think we're going to be talking about I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer because that movie, I've only seen it once and it is absolute trash. That is like
Yeah.
half a boo, maybe 0 boos.
We watched that together.
Oh,
Yeah, it was rough, and The Fisherman is not the same.
it's like supernatural.
Yeah, I was trying not to spoil it for anybody who wanted to go ahead and watch the next one. But yeah, he's
Oh,
actually like a ghost.
whatever I can do to deter people from watching that movie. Yeah,
It's
I'll
really
spoil it.
bad. I honestly, I would not recommend that movie to anyone, not even my worst enemy. So if you're listening, don't watch it.
Yeah. Well, but if they do come out with that new one next year, oh Jesus, we'll be all about the shit.
Oh, we'll be there. Yeah,
I
for
don't know
sure.
if I can wait. I think that one we would have to do an episode pretty quickly on.
Oh, yeah, I
Right?
agree. Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Just look, if you're going to the Bahamas, just check to see what the storm season is.
Yeah.
Don't get duped into some, like honestly, if it was just like storm season at that resort, I could still make a lot of fun out of that.
Oh, hell yeah. You
Yeah.
just watch horror movies the whole time in the room.
I'm more of an indoors guy anyway, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
this is nice.
Yeah.
Let's do this. This will be spooky and fun. But again, just check and see where you're getting your tickets from. And then also, don't accept anything from radio stations. Just don't do it. I know it's a
Don't
common
don't
practice.
talk to radio stations on the phone. Like,
Yeah, don't do
nope,
it.
it's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
because like even the most popular radio station DJs, you don't know what they look like generally. So you're already building that relationship of mistrust. So
Mm.
don't do it. All right, that's all I got. Thanks, everybody. 3, 2, 1, ghost.
Thanks for listening to our episode on I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. If you've been enjoying our podcast, subscribe and leave us a killer review on whichever platform you choose to listen. You can find us on Instagram at 321GhostPod and give us a follow. We're very active on Instagram and would love to hear from you. You can shoot an email to 321ghostpod@gmail.com to share any thoughts, questions, or recommend a movie you'd like to hear us chat about. Unless it's I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. We're not doing that. Next week, we're discussing Tim Burton's Beetlejuice. Thanks again for listening, and remember, the capital of Brazil is not Rio. 3, 2, 1, ghost.